Good evening. Welcome, dear friend. This night we journey alongside each other on a path of deep insight and understanding. Zen Buddhism offers a profound lens through which we can reflect on the year's passage, inviting us to embrace both gratitude and the grace of letting go. Before we truly begin, if your spirit feels inclined, please share the country you are listening from and what time it is there. From what part of our world are you now breathing with us? This sanctuary invites inner growth, nurturing your thoughts and awakening your deepest self. In this moment, you are welcome to simply exist, to breathe, and to let these sounds guide you gently inward. Every essential wisdom you seek already resides within. We merely aim to gently recall what dwells there. Should these reflections resonate deeply within your being, please return whenever you seek this quiet communion. Consider subscribing to keep this haven of calm readily accessible. Now, take a full, deliberate breath and allow your full presence to settle here as we prepare to drift into the gentle current of time and its lessons, recognizing the profound beauty of impermanence. The river of time, impermanence and anicca. As the year gently draws to its close, a subtle and profound awareness often arises within us, a quiet recognition of the relentless yet graceful passage of time. This particular feeling, at times tinged with wistfulness, at other moments profoundly liberating, serves as a resonant echo of anicca, the fundamental Buddhist teaching that speaks to the inherent impermanence of all phenomena. It serves as a gentle yet powerful reminder that absolutely everything in existence is caught within a ceaseless current of flux, perpetually transforming, never truly static or fixed. Not a single moment, not a single conscious breath, not even the most fleeting thought or emotion remains unchanged. Embracing this deep understanding, rather than resisting it, can profoundly transform our entire relationship with our lived experiences, enabling us to hold them with a light touch, appreciating their transient and delicate beauty without the burden of clinging. Tonight, we shall embark on a gentle exploration of this profound truth, allowing its ancient wisdom to slowly seep into the very core of our awareness, guiding us towards a deeper, more abiding sense of inner peace and tranquil acceptance. In a small, secluded hermitage nestled by the meandering bends of the Kiso River lived an elderly Zen monk named Kensho. His days unfolded with a quiet rhythm, punctuated by meditation, the simple tending of his sparse garden, and the continuous soft murmur of the flowing water. The Kiso River, a vibrant artery of life, had been Kensho's constant companion for decades, its ceaseless movement a living testament to the very nature of existence. Each morning, as the first blush of dawn painted the sky with hues of rose and gold, Kensho would sit on a smooth, river-worn stone at the water's edge. He watched the light dance on the ripples, felt the cool mist on his skin, and listened to the endless symphony of the current, a sound that was both comforting and profoundly instructive. The river's surface, ever-changing, reflected the sky's moods, the passing clouds, and the fleeting shadows of birds in flight, never presenting the same image twice. He observed fallen leaves swirling in eddies, then carried swiftly downstream, disappearing from view, a perfect visual metaphor for the transient nature of all things, each passing moment a silent lesson in detachment and the beauty of what is. This ritual of observing the river had become Kensho's most profound meditation, a direct path to understanding the deep truths of life. One crisp autumn afternoon, a young novice named Hiroki, new to the hermitage, and troubled by the fleeting nature of his own early spiritual struggles, approached Kensho as he sat by the water. Hiroki bowed respectfully, his brow furrowed with a question that weighed heavily on his youthful heart. "Master Kensho," he began, his voice soft, almost a whisper against the river's song. "I observe the river, and it fills me with a strange unease. It flows, always flows, and nothing ever truly stays. The beautiful reflections, the smooth stones, even the very water itself are gone in an instant. How can one find peace when everything is so utterly impermanent?" Kensho turned his gaze from the water to the young monk, a gentle smile gracing his aged lips, lines of wisdom etched around his eyes. He motioned for Hiroki to sit beside him on a neighboring stone, inviting him to share the quiet contemplation of the river's ceaseless journey. The master's presence was a calming balm, a silent invitation to deeper understanding, a sense of inner peace that seemed to emanate from his very being, reassuring Hiroki that answers could be found not in resistance, but in observation. The master's gentle response to Hiroki's earnest question points directly to the core Buddhist principle of anicca, or impermanence. It is not merely that things change, but that change itself is the fundamental nature of existence. The river Kiso, in Kensho's contemplation, is a perfect manifestation of this truth. Each drop of water is unique, yet it contributes to the continuous flow, constantly becoming something new, even as it appears to remain the same river. This dynamic process mirrors our own lives, our thoughts, our emotions, and our physical forms. By observing this natural flow, we begin to understand that holding on to any particular moment, feeling, or identity is ultimately futile and leads to suffering, or dukkha. Instead, the practice is to cultivate an observing awareness that recognizes this ceaseless transformation without judgment, allowing us to experience life fully as it unfolds, rather than resisting its inherent fluidity. This understanding fosters a deep sense of letting go and acceptance, crucial steps towards genuine inner freedom. As the revered Buddha himself taught, all conditioned things are impermanent. Strive on with diligence. This profound teaching echoes through the ages, reminding us that clinging to what is transient inevitably brings discontent. Thich Nhat Hanh, the gentle Zen master, also beautifully articulated this wisdom, saying, "Because of impermanence, everything is possible." He highlights that it is precisely because things do not last that growth, transformation, and renewal are constantly available to us. Suzuki Roshi emphasized the beginner's mind, Shoshin, as essential for truly embracing this truth, encouraging us to approach each moment as if it were entirely new, free from the expectations of the past. This perspective allows us to fully experience the present, to engage with life's unfolding with a sense of wonder and openness, rather than being confined by rigid notions of what should or should not be, cultivating a deep sense of full presence. Kensho then spoke, his voice like the smooth stones of the riverbed, worn by countless currents, yet strong and clear. "Hiroki, the river does not cling to the water that has passed, nor does it grasp at the water yet to come. It simply flows, moment by moment. Each drop is distinct, yet it is never separate from the river's journey. Your unease arises not from the river's impermanence, but from your mind's desire for things to be otherwise. You wish for the reflection to stay, for the stone to remain exactly as it was, but this is like trying to hold smoke in your hand. The river teaches us a profound lesson in detachment. It demonstrates that the beauty of life lies in its very flow, in its continuous becoming. To find peace, we must learn to flow with it, to appreciate each moment as it arises and then gently release it, much like the river releases each drop of water, trusting in the natural rhythms of existence, embracing the beauty of its ever-changing nature. Hiroki listened intently, his gaze now fixed on the swirling patterns of the water, not with fear, but with a burgeoning sense of curiosity. The master's words began to unravel the knots of his youthful anxiety, replacing them with a quiet sense of understanding. He started to perceive the river not as a source of loss, but as a vibrant, living testament to the grand dance of transformation. He watched a single leaf caught in a tiny whirlpool, spinning for a moment, then gracefully released to continue its journey downstream. He realized that the beauty was not in the leaf remaining fixed, but in its dynamic movement, its brief, exquisite presence within the larger flow. A deep sense of calm began to settle over him, an unfamiliar but welcome feeling of inner peace. He understood that the river's lesson was not about absence, but about the rich, vibrant presence of each passing moment, a continuous unfolding. His desire for things to be static began to recede, replaced by an appreciation for the ever-changing tapestry of life. This shift in Hiroki's perception is a powerful illustration of the transformative potential of truly understanding and embodying detachment and letting go. It is not about indifference or apathy, but about releasing the mental grip we often have on our experiences, expectations, and outcomes. When we cease to resist the natural flux of life, we open ourselves to a deeper form of acceptance. This practice allows us to experience the full presence of each moment without the added burden of trying to control or preserve it. Just as the river does not struggle against its own current, we too can learn to move with the flow, trusting that life will continue to unfold. This brings a sense of profound relief and lightness, enabling us to engage with life more fully, with a heart that is open and unburdened, experiencing a sense of inner freedom that arises from non-attachment. As we approach the end of our own year, this wisdom of the Kiso River and the teachings of Kensho offer us a profound lens through which to view our past 12 months. Like the river, our year has flowed, bringing with it countless moments, experiences, joys, and sorrows. Each one has passed, becoming a part of the vast, flowing current of our personal history. We cannot hold on to the successes, nor can we rewind and alter the challenges. But we can choose to observe them with a sense of equanimity, recognizing their transient nature, allowing them to flow through our consciousness without clinging. This practice of conscious breathing, bringing us back to the present, helps us to release the weight of what has been, fostering a sense of sufficiency in the now, and preparing our hearts for what is yet to come, without the burden of past attachments, nurturing our Buddha mind. Allowing the gentle current of impermanence to wash over us, we find a quiet strength in its wisdom. This embrace of anicca prepares our inner landscape for a deeper, more conscious reflection on the year that is now concluding. As we drift further into this contemplative space, we are invited to gently unpack the experiences of the past 12 months, not with judgment, but with an observing awareness, much like a traveler carefully surveying their provisions at a crossroads. We will explore each memory, each lesson, each fleeting moment, understanding that each one holds a unique gift, a piece of our unfolding Dharma. Let us prepare to take a gentle inventory of our journey, appreciating all that has been and all that is now ready to be released, fostering a deeper sense of self-compassion as we move forward. Unpacking the year, a gentle inventory. As we continue our quiet journey, having softly acknowledged the ceaseless flow of impermanence, we now arrive at a contemplative space designed for a gentle inventory of the year that is drawing to its close. This is not an exercise in judgment or self-criticism, but rather an invitation to engage in a practice of observing awareness, a mindful review of all that has transpired. Imagine yourself at a serene crossroads, where the paths of the past year converge and the paths of the new year begin to unfurl. There is no urgency here, no pressure to categorize or label. Instead, we simply open our inner gaze to what has been, allowing memories, emotions, and experiences to surface with a sense of calm curiosity. This process, when approached with kindness and self-compassion, becomes a profound act of self-knowledge, illuminating the subtle threads of our journey and revealing the Dharma that has unfolded within our lives, guiding us towards a deeper understanding of our own unique path. Picture a lone traveler named Ren, standing at the edge of an ancient, moss-covered crossroads, where the dust of a long journey still clung to his worn boots. The setting sun cast long, peaceful shadows across the landscape, painting the sky in hues of soft orange and deep violet, signaling the end of one day and the promise of another. Ren had traversed many terrains, faced many trials, and gathered many experiences over the course of his arduous trek. Now, with the weight of his satchel feeling lighter than it had in months, he decided to pause, to simply be, before embarking on the final stretch of his pilgrimage. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the earthy scent of damp soil and distant pines, and a gentle breeze rustled through the leaves of ancient oak trees, whispering tales of time's passage. He found a smooth, flat stone by the roadside and settled down, his heart filled with a quiet sense of readiness to reflect. With deliberate and unhurried movements, Ren unfastened the sturdy leather straps of his satchel, placing it gently on the ground beside him. He did not rush, but instead allowed each action to be imbued with full presence, a mindful engagement with the task at hand. One by one, he began to carefully remove the contents, laying them out before him on a clean folded cloth. There were smooth, polished stones he had collected from various riverbeds, each holding the memory of a particular challenge or a moment of profound insight. There were dried herbs, gathered for their healing properties, symbolizing the moments of nourishment and care he had received or given. There were also a few crumpled maps, marked with his routes, showing both his triumphs and his missteps, each line a testament to his journey. He observed each item without judgment, simply acknowledging its presence and its story, allowing the memories associated with each object to surface and be seen. As Ren continued his gentle inventory, he encountered items that, at first glance, seemed less pleasant. A small, torn piece of cloth, perhaps from a mended wound, reminded him of a time of pain and healing. A handful of dry, bitter berries, picked in desperation when other food was scarce, brought back the memory of hunger and resilience. Yet, even these he regarded with a quiet sense of equanimity, understanding that they too were part of his journey, essential components of the richness of his experience. He did not recoil from the difficult memories, nor did he cling to the joyous ones. He simply observed them, allowing them to exist as they were, without needing to change them or wish them away. This practice of non-judgmental viewing was a profound act of acceptance, a recognition that every piece of his journey, both light and shadow, had contributed to the person he had become, embodying a deep sense of self-knowledge. This mindful process, exemplified by Ren, is precisely what we are invited to do with our own past year. It is a moment for vipassana, an opportunity for insightful observation of our experiences, our successes, our perceived failures, our joys, and our sorrows. We are called to unpack our metaphorical satchels, to lay out the contents of our year with a spirit of open curiosity and gentle inquiry. There is no need to assign blame or to relive old wounds with fresh pain. Instead, we simply observe, recognizing that each event, each interaction, each internal shift holds a unique lesson, a piece of our personal dharma. By approaching this inventory with a beginner's mind, Shoshin, we allow ourselves to see things anew, free from the heavy filters of past narratives or expectations, fostering a deeper sense of inner peace. In the words of Dogen Zenji, to study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. Yo. This profound teaching aligns perfectly with the practice of a gentle inventory, where we observe our experiences not to reinforce a fixed sense of self, but to understand its fluid, ever-changing nature. Alan Uotz, with his characteristic clarity, also noted, trying to manage things, trying to force things to conform to our desires, is the cause of all our problems. This reminds us to approach our past with a sense of letting go, releasing the need to control or rewrite what has already transpired. By simply observing, we begin to forget the rigid self-concepts and open ourselves to the vastness of our original nature, allowing the wisdom of our experiences to emerge organically. This gentle inventory is an act of profound self-compassion. It acknowledges that the path we have walked, with all its twists and turns, was precisely the path we needed to walk. There is no need for regret, no space for self-recrimination. Instead, we extend kindness to ourselves for navigating the challenges, for celebrating the triumphs, and for simply enduring the ordinary moments that fill the spaces in between. Each item in our metaphorical satchel, whether a cherished memory or a difficult lesson, is a part of our unique story, a thread in the rich tapestry of our existence. By allowing ourselves this space for quiet reflection, we honor our journey and cultivate a deeper understanding of our own resilience and capacity for growth, embodying a true Buddha mind. As Ren carefully placed each item back into his satchel, a sense of lightness settled over him. Not because the items were gone, but because he had acknowledged each one, understood its purpose, and released its power to burden him. He had seen them for what they truly were, transient markers on a continuous journey. He closed the satchel, feeling a quiet contentment, a sense of sufficiency in what he carried, knowing that he was ready for whatever lay ahead. The act of observation, free from attachment, had transformed the weight of his past into the wisdom of his present. He stood up, stretched, and looked towards the new path, feeling a subtle shift within his being, a quiet readiness for new experiences. This mindful review, free from the grip of judgment, allows us to integrate the lessons of the past year without carrying its burdens forward. We simply observe, breathe, and let go. This process is deeply connected to the concept of non-attachment, understanding that our experiences, while valuable, do not define our immutable essence. They are like clouds passing in the sky of our consciousness. By taking this gentle inventory, we create a sacred pause, a moment of profound stillness before the next chapter begins, cultivating inner freedom. Now, as we conclude our gentle inventory, having observed the contents of our year with an open heart, we turn our attention to a subtle yet powerful force that often shapes our experience of life: the nature of desire, and the suffering it can bring. This reflection prepares us to delve into the understanding of Trishna, the Buddhist concept of craving, and how our attachments to specific outcomes can sometimes lead to profound dissatisfaction, even when our intentions are pure. We will explore how these seeds of suffering are sown, not to judge them, but to recognize their presence and learn how to navigate them with greater wisdom and equanimity, moving towards a deeper understanding of the noble truths. The seeds of suffering, understanding Trishna. Having gently inventoried the diverse experiences of our past year, we now turn our contemplative gaze towards a deeper understanding of the underlying currents that often shape our reactions to these events. The subtle yet powerful force of desire and attachment. In Buddhist teachings, this is often referred to as Trishna, or craving, a relentless thirst for things to be other than they are, a persistent longing for specific outcomes, experiences, or states of being. This craving is not inherently evil, but when unexamined, it becomes a primary source of suffering, or dukkha. It manifests not only as a desire for pleasant things, but also as an aversion to unpleasant things, or even a desire for non-existence. Understanding Trishna is a crucial step on the Noble Eightfold Path, as it illuminates the very roots of our dissatisfaction and offers a pathway towards Nirodha, the cessation of suffering, leading us towards a deeper sense of inner peace and liberation. Imagine a young apprentice named Kenji, who served in the monastery's vast, fertile garden, his hands calloused from diligent work, his heart brimming with an earnest desire to excel. The garden was Kenji's world, a vibrant tapestry of greens and browns, buzzing with the industrious hum of bees and the soft rustle of leaves in the morning breeze. He tended to the rows of vegetables and herbs with meticulous care, pouring his energy into nurturing each seedling, visualizing a bountiful harvest. His particular pride and joy was a patch of rare, delicate lotus flowers, whose seeds he had personally sown with immense hope and expectation. He spent hours each day observing their progress, imagining the pristine white petals unfurling perfectly on the serene surface of the pond, dreaming of the day they would bloom in magnificent splendor, a testament to his dedication and skill. He envisioned the master praising his efforts, the entire Sangha marveling at their beauty, and a deep sense of personal accomplishment filling his entire being. Kenji's desire for a perfect lotus harvest began subtly, a gentle whisper of hope, but over weeks it grew into a powerful, almost consuming expectation. He meticulously measured the water levels, carefully checked the soil for nutrients, and even spent evenings whispering encouragement to the tiny green shoots. He yearned for the lotuses to be the most beautiful, the most flawless, the most vibrant ever seen in the monastery garden. This intense craving, this Trishna for a specific ideal outcome, began to overshadow the simple joy of tending the garden itself. His happiness became entirely dependent on the future perfection of these flowers. He found himself constantly checking the weather, worrying about too much sun or too much rain. His mind perpetually agitated by the potential for anything less than his envisioned perfection. Every slight imperfection on a leaf, every cloudy day, became a source of anxiety, pulling him away from the full presence of the moment. As the season progressed, the weather took an unexpected turn. A series of unusually heavy rains descended upon the region, turning the gentle pond into a murky, turbulent basin. The delicate lotus leaves, once vibrant and strong, began to show signs of distress, their edges browning, some stems bending under the relentless downpour. Kenji watched helplessly, his heart sinking with each passing day, his meticulously cultivated hopes slowly withering before his eyes. The perfect harvest he had so eagerly anticipated was clearly not going to materialize. The vibrant white petals he had envisioned would be sullied, the graceful forms distorted. His initial joy and dedication transformed into a profound sense of disappointment, frustration, and even a quiet, bitter resentment towards the uncooperative weather and his own perceived failure. The weight of his unfulfilled expectations became a heavy burden, causing immense inner suffering. This experience of Kenji's vividly illustrates the nature of Trishna, or craving, and its direct link to suffering. His disappointment stemmed not from the lotuses themselves, but from his rigid attachment to a specific, idealized outcome. He craved the perfect harvest, and when reality deviated from his expectations, he experienced dukkha. This is a crucial insight into the noble truths, that suffering arises from craving, from wanting things to be other than they are. It highlights that our inner peace is often disrupted, not by external circumstances alone, but by our internal relationship to those circumstances, by our desperate clinging to fixed ideas and desires. The practice of detachment, therefore, becomes not about not caring, but about releasing the grip of our expectations, allowing life to unfold naturally without the added burden of our desires. The Buddha taught, "What I teach is suffering and the cessation of suffering." This profound statement underscores the central role of understanding Trishna in our spiritual journey. Shunryu Suzuki Roshi, in his teachings, often spoke of how, in the beginner's mind there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind there are few. Kenji, in his pursuit of the perfect lotus, had moved from a beginner's openness to an expert's rigid expectation, thereby limiting his possibilities for contentment. Thich Nhat Hanh gently reminds us, you must be able to let go of the idea of your suffering. Then you will be able to let go of your suffering. These teachings collectively point towards the path of releasing our attachments, understanding that the source of our deepest pains often lies within our own minds and their cravings, rather than solely in external events. Kenji's master, a wise old monk named Jiro, observed Kenji's distress with a compassionate gaze. One evening, finding Kenji sitting dejectedly by the rain-battered lotus pond, Jiro sat beside him. "Kenji," he said softly, his voice a soothing balm, "you poured your heart into these flowers, and that is commendable. But your heart also became chained to a specific vision. The lotuses themselves do not care if they are perfect or not. They simply grow, then wither, following their own dharma. Your suffering arises from the gap between your expectation and reality. Can you find gratitude for the effort you gave, for the life that did emerge, even if imperfect? Can you observe the beauty in their struggle, in their resilience, rather than focusing on what they are not?" Jiro's words were a gentle invitation to shift Kenji's perspective, guiding him towards a path of acceptance. The master's gentle inquiry invited Kenji to practice equanimous observation, to see the lotuses not through the lens of his shattered expectations, but as they truly were, living beings responding to their environment. This is the essence of vipassana, to observe with a balanced mind, without preference or aversion. Kenji slowly began to understand that his focus on perfection, his intense craving, had robbed him of the joy of the process itself, of the simple act of nurturing life. He saw that his Trishna had created an invisible cage around his heart, trapping him in disappointment. As he let go of the ideal image, he began to notice the subtle, resilient beauty in the damaged leaves, the quiet strength of the surviving stems. a quiet sense of inner peace, previously elusive, began to emerge as he released his grip on what he believed should have been. He found contentment in the sufficiency of what remained. This recognition of Trishna and its role in our suffering is not meant to foster guilt, but to awaken our awareness. It is a profound insight into the mechanics of our own minds, allowing us to identify where our attachments lie and how they create friction in our lives. By observing our cravings with sati, or mindfulness, we gain the power to choose a different response. We learn to appreciate the process, to engage with life with a beginner's mind, and to release our fierce grip on specific outcomes. This path leads to a deeper sense of acceptance, a quiet understanding that true happiness does not depend on external perfection, but on our internal state of non-attachment and freedom from the relentless pull of desire. It is a vital step on our journey towards a more conscious and peaceful existence, moving us closer to nirvana. As we gently absorb the lessons of Kenji and the Lotus Garden, we carry this understanding of Trishna into our next reflection. We have observed how craving can sow the seeds of dissatisfaction, even in the most earnest endeavors. Now, with this awareness, we are better prepared to explore how challenges themselves, often perceived as obstacles, can be profound sources of wisdom. We will delve into stories that illuminate how difficulties, when met with a mindful heart, transform into opportunities for growth and deeper prajna, guiding us through the labyrinths of life and revealing the hidden pathways to self-knowledge, continuing our journey on the noble eightfold path. Lessons from the labyrinth, wisdom in challenges. Having gently explored the subtle nature of Trishna and how our attachments can lead to suffering, we now turn our attention to the profound truth that challenges themselves are not merely obstacles, but often serve as powerful catalysts for growth and the unfolding of true wisdom. The past year, like any other, has undoubtedly presented its share of difficulties, moments where the path felt uncertain or the way forward seemed obscured. Yet it is precisely in these moments of struggle, when we are called upon to draw from our deepest inner resources, that we discover hidden strengths and gain invaluable insights. This process of navigating adversity, when approached with an open heart and a mindful spirit, becomes a direct path to prajna, a wisdom that is not merely intellectual but deeply experiential, allowing us to cultivate profound self-knowledge and a resilient Buddha mind. These trials, far from being deterrents, are often the very crucible in which our deepest understanding is forged, guiding us towards a more authentic existence. In a remote mountain village, nestled amidst towering peaks and dense, ancient forests, lived a young student named Kai. He had always been known for his sharp mind and his eagerness to learn, but he also possessed a certain impatience, a desire for quick and clear answers. One day, while gathering medicinal herbs for his ailing grandmother, Kai ventured deeper into the forest than he ever had before. The path, usually well trodden, became faint, then disappeared entirely, swallowed by tangled undergrowth and shadowed by colossal moss-laden trees. A thick, swirling mist descended, muffling the sounds of the forest and obscuring his vision, turning the familiar woods into a disorienting labyrinth. Panic began to stir within Kai's chest as the sun dipped below the horizon, plunging the forest into an eerie twilight. He realized, with a jolt of fear, that he was utterly lost, a profound sense of isolation settling upon him. The cool, damp air clung to his skin, and the rustling leaves now sounded ominous, amplifying his growing unease. Kai's initial reaction was one of frustration and fear. He tried to retrace his steps, stumbling over roots and rocks in the dimming light, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He called out, but his voice was swallowed by the vast silence of the forest. With each failed attempt, his desperation grew, and his mind raced with anxious thoughts. What if he never found his way out? What if his grandmother grew worse without the herbs? This internal turmoil, this clinging to his desire for a quick resolution, only intensified his suffering, creating a mental labyrinth far more daunting than the physical one. He was caught in the grip of Trishna, craving a return to safety and familiarity, resisting the stark reality of his predicament. His body tensed, his heart pounded, and the chill of the night seemed to penetrate deep into his bones, amplifying his sense of utter helplessness and exacerbating his inner turmoil. Exhausted and disheartened, Kai eventually collapsed against the rough bark of an ancient tree, his body trembling, his spirit feeling utterly defeated. As the last vestiges of daylight faded and the forest embraced the deep stillness of night, a profound quiet began to settle around him and eventually within him. With nothing left to do, nowhere left to run, he simply sat and breathed. He noticed the cold air on his face, the earthy scent of the damp soil, the distant hoot of an owl. Slowly, his frantic thoughts began to subside, replaced by a quiet sense of full presence. He realized that his struggle to escape had only deepened his confusion. In this moment of surrender, a subtle shift occurred. He stopped fighting the labyrinth and began to simply observe it, employing a form of observing awareness, allowing his senses to open to the subtle cues around him. As the night deepened, a sliver of moonlight pierced through a break in the canopy, illuminating a faint, almost invisible deer trail. It was not the wide, familiar path he had lost, but a narrow, winding track, barely discernible. Kai realized that in his panic, he had been too focused on finding the right way, the familiar way, to notice the subtle guidance that was present all along. He had been clinging to his idea of how his journey should unfold, rather than accepting the reality of his situation. This small, humble trail, though unfamiliar, offered a direction, a potential way forward. It was a lesson in beginner's mind, Shoshin, an invitation to trust the unfolding process, even when it deviated from his preconceived notions, embracing the unknown with an open heart. This shift in Kai's experience profoundly illustrates how challenges, when met with a gentle, non-reactive spirit, can become powerful teachers. His initial suffering arose from his resistance to being lost, his craving for control and certainty. It was only when he released his struggle, embracing the present moment with equanimity, that he could perceive the subtle guidance that had been there all along. This is the essence of finding wisdom in challenges, not by avoiding them, but by allowing them to strip away our preconceived notions and attachments, revealing our inherent resilience and capacity for adaptability. Every twist and turn in life's labyrinth, every moment of uncertainty, offers an opportunity for deeper self-knowledge and a profound cultivation of prajna, a wisdom that is forged in the crucible of direct experience, allowing us to cultivate inner freedom. As the Venerable Buddha said, the root of suffering is attachment. Kai's struggle in the forest was intensified by his attachment to the familiar path and his expectation of an easy journey. Dogen Zenji also taught, enlightenment is intimacy with all things. It was only when Kai stopped fighting his predicament and became intimate with his lostness, with the sounds and smells of the night forest, that a path revealed itself. Pema Chodron, a contemporary teacher, wisely advises, nothing ever goes away until it teaches us what we need to know. This powerful insight underscores the transformative potential of every challenge. reminding us that difficulties are not roadblocks, but rather essential lessons on our personal dharma, guiding us towards a deeper understanding of our original nature and the path to self-compassion. Guided by the faint moonlight and his newfound inner quiet, Kai cautiously followed the deer trail. It was slow going, but without the frantic urgency that had previously consumed him. He moved with a sense of full presence, placing each foot carefully, listening to the subtle sounds of the forest, feeling the texture of the earth beneath his bare feet. He realized that the greatest lesson was not about finding his way out quickly, but about learning to navigate uncertainty with a calm heart, trusting his intuition and adapting to the unexpected. The labyrinth, once a source of terror, had become his teacher, revealing a strength and a patience he never knew he possessed. He was no longer lost in the same way. He was simply on a different path, one that was unfolding organically, moment by moment, teaching him a profound lesson in the natural flow of life. By morning, as the first rays of sun filtered through the trees, painting the forest floor in dappled light, Kai emerged from the woods, not far from his village. He was tired, but there was a quiet radiance about him, a newfound calm in his eyes. He had returned with the herbs, but more importantly, he carried with him a profound wisdom, a deep understanding of his inner resources, and a trust in the unfolding of life, even when the path was unclear. The experience had taught him the beauty of imperfection, the acceptance of what is, and the profound liberation that comes from letting go of rigid expectations. His journey through the labyrinth had transformed him, cultivating a resilient spirit and a deeper connection to his Buddha mind, a quiet knowing that resided within. This journey through Kai's labyrinth reminds us that the challenges of our past year, no matter how daunting they may have seemed, have also been opportunities for profound growth. They have sculpted us, refined us, and revealed layers of strength and wisdom that might otherwise have remained dormant. Each difficulty, when embraced with an open heart, contributes to our personal dharma, shaping us into more resilient and compassionate beings. This understanding fosters a deep sense of contentment, not in the absence of challenges, but in our ability to navigate them with grace and inner peace, realizing that every experience, even the most arduous, serves a purpose in our journey. As we gently release the notion that challenges are merely obstacles and embrace them as profound teachers, we are now ready to delve into an even deeper concept, the idea of emptiness, or sunyata. This is not an empty void, but rather a vast, fertile space of pure potential, a canvas awaiting new creation. We will explore how letting go of our attachments, including our attachments to the narratives of our past year, creates this profound space within us, allowing for true renewal and the emergence of inner freedom. It is in this empty bowl that new possibilities can truly take root, offering a sense of sufficiency and boundless opportunity. The empty bowl, embracing sunyata. Having journeyed through the wisdom gleaned from life's challenges, recognizing their transformative power, we now turn our contemplative awareness to one of the most profound and often misunderstood concepts in Buddhist philosophy, sunyata, or emptiness. This is not a barren void, a lack of existence, or a nihilistic absence of meaning. Rather, sunyata points to the interconnected, interdependent, and ultimately ungraspable nature of all phenomena. It suggests that nothing possesses an inherent, fixed, independent self-existence. Everything arises in relation to everything else, like ripples in a vast ocean. Embracing this understanding allows us to release our rigid attachments to ideas, identities, and experiences, creating a profound inner space, like an empty bowl, ready to be filled with fresh possibilities. This concept is a cornerstone for true inner freedom, fostering a deep sense of detachment and enabling us to approach life with a spirit of open potential, recognizing our original nature. In a quiet, sun-dappled Zen temple, nestled among ancient cherry trees that bloomed with fleeting beauty each spring, lived a venerable master named Hiroshi. His teachings were often enigmatic, delivered with a gentle smile and a twinkle in his eye, designed to awaken his students to truths beyond mere words. One morning, during the daily communal meal, Hiroshi noticed a young monk, Akio, meticulously arranging his rice bowl, ensuring every grain was perfectly aligned, every condiment placed with absolute precision. Akio was known for his diligent practice, but also for his subtle attachment to perfection and his preconceived notions of how things should be. The master observed Akio's focused, almost anxious attention to detail, noting the subtle tension in his shoulders, a slight furrow in his brow, and understood that Akio was caught in the subtle grip of Trishna, even in the simplest of tasks. After the meal, Master Hiroshi called Akio to his private zendo, a small, serene meditation hall filled with the scent of old wood and quiet contemplation. He held up a simple, unadorned ceramic bowl, its surface smooth and cool to the touch, and asked, "Akio, what do you see when you look at this bowl?" Akio, expecting a complex philosophical inquiry, paused. He carefully examined the bowl, noting its humble craftsmanship, its perfectly rounded shape, its earthy color. "Master," he replied, "I see a bowl, a vessel for holding food, perhaps for tea. It is well made, simple, and functional." He felt a slight apprehension, wondering if he had missed some deeper meaning, some hidden symbolism that the master intended for him to uncover. His mind raced, searching for an esoteric answer, a profound insight that would impress his wise teacher. Master Hiroshi smiled gently, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "Indeed, it is a bowl," he acknowledged. "But now tell me, what does this bowl contain?" Akio looked closer, then replied, "Master, it contains nothing. It is empty." He felt a sense of slight confusion, as the answer seemed too obvious, too simple for a master's question. He wondered if he was being tested, if there was a trick to the question, or if his answer revealed some flaw in his understanding. He still sought a deeper, more profound meaning, a complex philosophical truth hidden within the master's simple inquiry, his mind still clinging to the expectation of intellectual challenge rather than direct observation. "Precisely," Master Hiroshi affirmed, his voice soft yet resonant. "It is empty, and because it is empty, it can hold anything. It can hold rice, or water, or flowers, or even the vastness of the sky reflected on its surface. Its very emptiness, its sunyata, is its greatest quality, its boundless potential. If it were already full, it could hold nothing new. Your mind, Akio, is much like this bowl. If it is already full of preconceived notions, of desires for perfection, of attachments to how things should be, then there is no space for new experiences, for true learning, for the spontaneous unfolding of life. Your craving for perfection, your Trishna, fills your bowl, leaving no room for the unexpected beauty of the imperfect moment. This simple exchange beautifully illustrates the profound meaning of sunyata. Emptiness is not a void to be feared, but a spaciousness to be embraced. It is the understanding that all phenomena, including our own thoughts, emotions, and self-concepts, lack inherent, fixed existence. They are empty of a separate, unchanging self. Because they are empty, they are fluid, interconnected, and constantly transforming. When we release our grip on fixed ideas and attachments, we create an empty bowl within our consciousness. This allows for a beginner's mind, shoshin, an openness to all possibilities, a capacity for fresh perception and genuine transformation, fostering a deep sense of inner peace and self-knowledge, recognizing the profound sufficiency that lies within the present moment. As the Venerable Alan Watts eloquently put it, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. This speaks directly to the dynamic nature of sunyata. Thich Nhat Hanh often taught, when you let go of all your notions, you are free. He highlights the liberation that comes from releasing our mental constructs and attachments. Shunryu Suzuki Roshi encouraged us to let your mind be as empty as a bowl. Then it is ready to receive. These teachings collectively emphasize that true understanding and freedom arise not from accumulating more, but from creating space, from embracing the inherent emptiness and potential that resides within each of us, allowing us to connect with our Buddha mind. Akio listened, his eyes widening with recognition. He looked at the empty bowl, then back at the master, and finally, inward. He began to feel the subtle tension in his own mind, the constant effort to fill it with expectations, with judgments, with a craving for what was not. He realized that his desire for a perfectly arranged rice bowl, or a perfectly executed meditation, was akin to trying to fill a bowl that was already full of his own ideas. As he consciously relaxed his mental grip, he felt a lightness, a spaciousness emerge within him. The emptiness of the bowl was not a lack, but a vast, inviting expanse, a symbol of infinite potential. He felt a profound sense of acceptance wash over him, a deep sense of relief in releasing the burden of perfection. This moment of insight for Akio was a powerful experience of letting go. He understood that his attachment to fixed ideas and perfect outcomes was what had been preventing him from truly experiencing the richness of the present moment. By embracing the emptiness, the sunyata, of his own expectations, he created room for a deeper, more authentic engagement with life. He realized that true contentment and inner peace do not come from having everything just so, but from the ability to be open and receptive to whatever arises, without the need to control or categorize. This is the essence of cultivating a Buddha mind, a mind that is free, spacious, and always ready to receive, fostering a deep sense of inner freedom. Embracing sunyata in our reflection on the past year means letting go of our fixed narratives about what happened, what should have happened, or what it all means. It is an invitation to see the year not as a collection of solid, unchangeable events, but as a fluid, interconnected dance of experiences, each empty of inherent, independent meaning, yet full of potential for our learning and growth. This allows us to release the burden of past regrets and future anxieties, creating a vast open space within us for the present moment to unfold, for new possibilities to emerge, and for a deep sense of gratitude to blossom for the sheer fact of existence, fostering a profound sense of sufficiency. As we gently absorb the profound lesson of the empty bowl and the boundless potential of sunyata, we prepare to move forward with a renewed sense of spaciousness within our hearts and minds. This awareness of emptiness, far from being daunting, is deeply liberating, allowing us to release the heavy weight of our attachments. We are now ready to reflect on the specific lessons gleaned from the labyrinthine paths of our past year, understanding how each challenge, each twist and turn, has contributed to our unique journey, providing us with invaluable wisdom and guiding us towards a more profound self-knowledge and a deeper connection to our original nature. The path of acceptance, Shoshin, and beginner's mind. Having contemplated the boundless potential of emptiness, or sunyata, and the wisdom found within challenges, we now turn our attention to a truly liberating practice, cultivating a beginner's mind, or Shoshin. As we approach the past year, with all its complexities and narratives, it is easy to view it through the lens of our accumulated experiences, judgments, and expectations. However, Shoshin invites us to shed these preconceptions, to approach each memory, each emotion, each lesson, as if encountering it for the very first time. This fresh perspective allows for a profound sense of acceptance, freeing us from the weight of past interpretations and opening us to new insights. It is a path of detachment from our own stories, fostering a deep sense of inner freedom and allowing us to see our journey with clarity and profound self-knowledge, embracing our original nature. In a bustling city known for its ancient crafts, lived a renowned potter named Master Kenji. His hands had shaped clay for over 5 decades, creating masterpieces that adorned imperial palaces and humble homes alike. He was celebrated for his skill, his precision, and his profound understanding of the material. Yet, despite his accolades, Kenji maintained a peculiar ritual. Once a year, he would spend an entire month working with only the simplest, most basic clay, using tools he had fashioned himself from raw wood and stone, just as he had done as a young apprentice. He would discard all his finely honed techniques, all his complex glazes, and all his signature forms, deliberately setting aside his vast expertise. His studio, usually filled with the elegant shapes of finished pieces, would for this month hold only crude, unpolished vessels echoing a time long past. The scent of damp earth and wood smoke filled the air, a humble reminder of origins. One day, a curious young apprentice named Hana, who admired Kenji's sophisticated work, watched him struggle with a simple, uneven bowl, his brow furrowed in concentration. She saw him repeatedly reshape the clay, his movements slow and deliberate, almost hesitant. "Master Kenji," she ventured, her voice soft, "why do you spend so much time on such simple forms? Your hands are capable of such intricate beauty. Why do you choose to work as if you were just beginning?" She could not reconcile the image of the celebrated master with the seemingly clumsy, almost childlike efforts she was witnessing. She expected him to be creating complex, elaborate pieces, not these unassuming, almost crude forms. She felt a subtle confusion, a slight discomfort with this apparent regression, a challenge to her own understanding of mastery and skill. Master Kenji paused, his hands still gently working the clay, feeling its cool, yielding texture. He looked up at Hana, his eyes reflecting a deep, quiet wisdom. "Hana," he began, "when I first began my apprenticeship, my mind was an empty vessel, eager to learn. Every touch of the clay, every turn of the wheel was a new discovery. There were no expectations, no pressure to create a masterpiece, only the pure joy of exploration. As I gained skill, my mind began to fill with knowledge, with techniques, with the weight of my reputation. I knew how things should be done, how they must look. This knowledge, while valuable, sometimes became a cage, limiting my creativity, making me cling to what was familiar and safe. My trishna for perfection grew with my skill. He continued, "This month, I return to the beginner's mind, to Shoshin. I intentionally forget what I know. I approach the clay as if it were entirely new to me, as if I have never touched it before. I allow myself to make mistakes, to embrace the imperfection, to rediscover the simple joy of the material without the burden of expectation. It is a practice of detachment from my own expertise, a way to keep my senses sharp, my heart open, and my creativity flowing. Without this annual return to the fundamental, my art would become stagnant, predictable. It is how I find new forms, new expressions, new ways of being with the clay, connecting to my original nature. This profound explanation by Master Kenji illuminates the essence of Shoshin. It is not about ignorance, but about a deliberate act of unlearning, of releasing our accumulated knowledge and preconceived notions to create space for fresh perception. When we approach our past year or any experience with a beginner's mind, we free ourselves from the rigid narratives we have constructed. We stop judging events based on past successes or failures and instead allow them to simply be in their raw, unfiltered form. This practice cultivates a deep sense of acceptance and equanimity, enabling us to see lessons and opportunities that might otherwise be obscured by our fixed perspectives, fostering a profound sense of inner freedom and self-knowledge. As Shunryu Suzuki Roshi, who coined the term Shoshin in the West, famously taught, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few." This sentiment perfectly encapsulates the liberating power of this practice. Alan Yortz also observed, "The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance." His words encourage us to embrace the fluidity of life rather than resisting it with fixed ideas. Thich Nhat Hanh, with his gentle wisdom, often said, "If we are not able to be present, we miss life." Yi. By returning to Shoshin, we cultivate full presence, allowing us to truly experience each moment of our past year, not just recall it through a filter of judgment or expectation, but to see it anew, with a profound sense of sufficiency. Hana watched Master Kenji with new eyes, understanding now that his struggle was not a sign of imperfection, but a deliberate, profound practice. She saw the beauty in his vulnerability, in his willingness to be a beginner again, even after decades of mastery. She realized that true wisdom was not about knowing all the answers, but about maintaining an openness to inquiry, a willingness to be surprised, and a deep acceptance of the unfolding process. She felt a quiet shift within her own understanding of craft and of life. The scent of the clay, previously just an ordinary smell, now carried the subtle fragrance of profound wisdom and the quiet dignity of a mind truly at peace, a mind that found contentment in the very act of creation. This practice of Shoshin, of cultivating a beginner's mind, is particularly potent as we reflect on the closing year. It invites us to release the narratives we have built around our successes and failures, our joys and sorrows. Instead of recounting the year as a fixed story, we simply observe the memories as they arise, like clouds passing in the sky of our consciousness. This allows us to integrate the lessons without clinging to the outcomes, to experience gratitude for all that has transpired without the burden of judgment. It is a profound act of self-compassion, offering ourselves the gift of a fresh start, a clean slate, a mind that is open and ready for whatever the new year may bring, embracing our Buddha mind. By approaching our past year with this fresh, open perspective, we allow ourselves to truly receive its lessons. We see the beauty in the imperfection, the wisdom in the challenges, and the continuous flow of anicca in every moment. This practice of detachment from our own expert opinions about our life experiences frees us from the suffering of Trishna, allowing us to find a deep sense of contentment in what is. It is a vital step towards cultivating inner peace, fostering a profound connection to our original nature and preparing us to fully embrace the present moment, understanding that each breath is a new beginning, a fresh canvas for our existence. As we gently settle into this newfound spaciousness of a beginner's mind, we find ourselves naturally drawn back to the most fundamental and grounding aspect of our existence, the simple, profound act of breathing. This practice of Shoshin, of seeing anew, prepares us perfectly for the next step in our journey, cultivating full presence through conscious breathing. We will explore how the breath, ever present and always available, serves as an anchor to the here and now, a silent guide to sati, or mindfulness, and a direct pathway to anapanasati, allowing us to truly inhabit each moment with a deep sense of inner calm and profound sufficiency. The simple breath, cultivating full presence. Having embraced the liberating perspective of a beginner's mind, Shoshin, we now naturally flow into the practice of cultivating full presence, anchored by the simple, profound act of conscious breathing. In the hurried pace of our lives, especially as one year transitions into the next, our minds often become scattered, dwelling on the past or anticipating the future. Yet, the breath is always here, always now, an unwavering constant in the ever-changing landscape of our experience. By consciously connecting with our breath, we bring ourselves fully into the present moment, a practice known as sati, or mindfulness. This is not about trying to control the breath, but simply observing its natural rhythm, allowing it to gently guide us back to the stillness within. This deep engagement with anapanasati is a direct path to inner peace, fostering a profound sense of contentment and allowing us to experience the sufficiency of simply being, nurturing our Buddha mind. Consider a diligent farmer named Hiroshi, who lived in a secluded valley where the rhythm of life was dictated by the seasons and the land. Unlike many of his neighbors, who often rushed through their tasks, driven by a subtle trishna for greater yields or faster results, Hiroshi moved with a quiet, deliberate grace. His farm, though modest, thrived under his care. Each morning, as the mist still clung to the mountain peaks and the air was cool and fresh, Hiroshi would step into his fields. He didn't immediately begin his strenuous work. Instead, he would pause at the edge of his plot, his feet firmly planted on the rich, dark soil, and simply breathe. He felt the cool air entering his nostrils, expanding his chest, and then slowly leaving his body, carrying with it any lingering thoughts of the previous day or anxieties about the tasks ahead. This brief, sacred pause was his daily ritual, his personal moment of anapanasati. As Hiroshi began to till the soil, his movements were not rushed or mechanical. Each swing of his hoe, each turn of the earth was imbued with full presence. He felt the resistance of the soil, smelled its rich, earthy scent, heard the soft crunch of pebbles beneath his tool. His breath became his steady companion, a silent rhythm guiding his actions. He wasn't thinking about the finished crop, or the market, or his next meal. He was entirely absorbed in the immediate sensation of the soil, the sun on his back, the feel of the wooden handle in his calloused hands. This deep engagement, this sati, transformed his labor from a mere chore into a profound meditation, a direct connection to the living earth and to his own being, a cultivation of his original nature. He found a quiet joy in the simplicity of the moment. One scorching afternoon, a neighboring farmer, Kaito, who was always in a hurry, came to Hiroshi's field, his face flushed with frustration. "Hiroshi!" Kaito exclaimed, wiping sweat from his brow. "How do you manage to work so calmly in this heat? My mind races with all the tasks I still have to do, and I feel nothing but exhaustion and impatience." Kaito's voice was strained, his body tense, clearly caught in the grip of his own cravings and anxieties, his trishnā for efficiency and completion. He observed Hiroshi's tranquil movements with a mixture of bewilderment and envy, unable to comprehend the source of such calm amidst demanding labor. He was struggling with the suffering that arose from his own resistance to the present moment, his mind constantly pulling him away from the here and now. Hiroshi paused, straightened up, and offered Kaito a cool drink of water. "Kaito," he replied gently, his voice calm and steady. "The heat is simply the heat. My tasks are simply my tasks. I do not fight them, nor do I rush them. I simply breathe. When my mind races, I bring it back to the feeling of the earth beneath my feet, the sun on my skin, and the air entering and leaving my body. This breath is my anchor. It reminds me that I am here, now, and that this moment, with all its sensations, is enough. There is nothing else I need to do, nowhere else I need to be." This practice of conscious breathing allows me to move with the natural flow of life, cultivating a deep sense of equanimity and detachment from the urgency of my thoughts. This simple yet profound wisdom shared by Hiroshi highlights the transformative power of anapanasati, or conscious breathing. It is a direct pathway to sati, or mindfulness, enabling us to transcend the incessant chatter of the mind and fully inhabit the present moment. By focusing on the breath, we gently sever the ties of trishna that pull us into past regrets or future anxieties. The breath becomes a living teacher, constantly reminding us of impermanence, of the continuous flow of life, and of our inherent capacity for inner peace. It is a practice of radical acceptance, of simply being with what is, without judgment or resistance, fostering a deep sense of sufficiency and self-compassion. As Thich Nhat Hanh often taught, breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. This encapsulates the essence of anapanasati. The Buddha himself emphasized, mindfulness of breathing, when developed and cultivated, is of great fruit and benefit. Alan Watts, in his characteristic way, also pointed out, trying to manage things, trying to force things to conform to our desires, is the cause of all our problems. By contrast, allowing the breath to simply be, without trying to control it, aligns us with the natural flow of Wu Wei, fostering a deep sense of contentment and inner freedom, allowing us to connect with our original nature. Kaito listened, his initial frustration slowly dissipating, replaced by a quiet sense of curiosity. He took a deep, conscious breath, feeling the air fill his lungs, and for the first time that day, felt a subtle release of tension. He realized that his constant striving, his endless desire to finish and move on, had prevented him from truly experiencing the richness of his work, and indeed, his life. He saw that Hiroshi's calm was not an absence of effort, but a profound presence within the effort. He began to understand that the true harvest was not just the crops, but the peace cultivated within himself through the practice of conscious breathing, a profound act of self-knowledge and a connection to his Buddha mind. This practice of cultivating full presence through the breath is a gift we can offer ourselves as the year concludes. It is an invitation to pause, to simply be, and to allow the breath to anchor us in the here and now. By doing so, we release the weight of past events and the anxieties of future possibilities, finding a deep sense of inner peace and contentment in the present moment. This is where true gratitude blossoms, not for what we have achieved or acquired, but for the profound miracle of simply existing, of breathing, of being fully present in the unfolding tapestry of life, embracing the beauty of its imperfection. As we consciously connect with each breath, allowing it to ground us in the present, we create a fertile ground for a deeper appreciation of our journey. This full presence, cultivated through anapanasati, naturally opens the heart to gratitude. We are now ready to shift our awareness to recognizing the countless blessings, both grand and subtle, that have unfolded throughout the past year. We will explore how acknowledging these gifts, even the smallest ones, can transform our perspective and deepen our sense of joy and contentment, planting the seeds of true appreciation for all that has been, guiding us towards a deeper connection with our Buddha mind. Seeds of gratitude, acknowledging the gifts. Having anchored ourselves in the full presence of the moment through conscious breathing and a beginner's mind, we now invite our hearts to open to the transformative power of gratitude. As the year draws to a close, it is a precious opportunity to shift our focus from what might have been lacking or challenging to deliberately acknowledge the countless blessings, both grand and subtle, that have enriched our journey. This is not about denying difficulties, but about cultivating an inner landscape where appreciation can flourish, even amidst imperfection. By consciously recognizing the gifts we have received, we foster a profound sense of contentment, a deep wellspring of inner peace that resides within us, regardless of external circumstances. This practice of acknowledging sufficiency, of seeing the abundance in the ordinary, is a direct path to the Buddha mind, illuminating our original nature. In a small ancient village nestled by the foot of a sacred mountain, where the air was always crisp with the scent of pine and wild herbs, the harvest season was a time of communal celebration and deep reflection. The villagers, though their lives were simple and often arduous, understood the profound importance of gratitude. Their homes, built of sturdy wood and stone, echoed with the laughter of children and the quiet hum of daily tasks. Each year, after the crops were gathered from the sun-drenched fields and the granaries were full, they would gather in the central square under the vast, star-dusted sky for a special ceremony. This was not a ritual of demanding more, but of humbly acknowledging what had been given, a testament to their deep connection to the land and to each other, a profound sense of sufficiency permeating their collective spirit. During this ceremony, the village elder, a woman named Aya, whose face was a map of wisdom and compassion, would invite each person to bring a symbolic offering. This was not a material gift, but a small token representing something they were truly grateful for from the past year. One young farmer brought a handful of rich, dark soil, representing the fertile land that had yielded his crops. A mother brought a woven cloth, symbolizing the warmth and safety of her family. A child brought a smooth, colorful pebble, a reminder of a moment of simple joy by the river. Each offering was placed on a large, communal altar, a silent testament to the diverse and abundant blessings that had touched their lives, a collective expression of their profound contentment and connection to the Dharma. As each villager placed their offering, they would share a brief, heartfelt word of gratitude. It was not a boast, nor a complaint, but a simple, direct acknowledgement. One man spoke of the strength he found in his community during a difficult time. Another woman spoke of the sweet taste of fresh water from the mountain spring, a daily blessing often taken for granted. A young artisan expressed thanks for the inspiration that guided her hands in creating beautiful pottery. The air filled with these quiet affirmations of appreciation, creating a palpable sense of warmth and unity. This collective act of conscious recognition transformed their individual experiences into a shared tapestry of abundance, fostering a deep sense of inner peace and reinforcing their collective sangha. This village tradition perfectly embodies the practice of cultivating gratitude. It is an intentional act of recognizing and appreciating the positive aspects of our lives, no matter how small or seemingly ordinary. In a world that often encourages us to focus on what we lack or what we still desire, a constant trishna for more, the practice of gratitude shifts our perspective towards abundance. It allows us to step out of the cycle of craving and into a space of contentment and sufficiency. By consciously acknowledging our blessings, we nurture a positive inner landscape, one that is resilient and deeply rooted in the present moment, fostering a profound sense of self-knowledge and self-compassion. As the Buddha taught, let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little, and if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick, and if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So, let us all be thankful. This ancient wisdom reminds us to find gratitude even in the most challenging circumstances. Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully articulated, "Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet." This invites us to bring full presence and appreciation to every step, every moment. Alan Yuotz, with his characteristic playfulness, noted, "The art of living is neither careless abandon nor grim control, but a creative balance of both." Gratitude, in this sense, is that creative balance, allowing us to appreciate the flow of life without clinging or resisting, recognizing the profound sufficiency of the here and now. The elder Aya, with a serene smile, then addressed the gathered villagers. "Look around you," she urged, her voice resonating with gentle authority. "See the richness not in what you possess, but in the very act of living, in the breath you take, in the sun that warms your skin, in the kindness of your neighbor. Each of these is a gift, a blessing. When we acknowledge these gifts, our hearts expand and we find peace not in having more, but in realizing the profound sufficiency of what already is. This is the true harvest, the deepest contentment." This practice of gratitude is a continuous act of letting go of what we think we lack and embracing the abundance that surrounds us, a direct path to inner freedom. The ceremony concluded with a shared meal, simple yet abundant, eaten with a quiet joy and a deep sense of connection. The villagers left the square that night, not with full hands, but with full hearts, their spirits uplifted by the collective acknowledgement of their blessings. They carried with them a renewed sense of appreciation for their lives, for each other, and for the simple, profound miracle of existence. The practice of gratitude had transformed their ordinary day into a sacred experience, leaving them with a lasting sense of inner peace and a deeper connection to their Buddha mind, an awareness of their original nature. This profound practice of acknowledging the gifts in our lives, of cultivating gratitude, is an essential step towards true contentment. It shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance, from craving to sufficiency. As we reflect on the past year, let us consciously seek out those moments, those experiences, those relationships that have brought light, growth, or simply comfort. By doing so, we nurture a resilient spirit, one that can find joy even amidst the imperfection of life, a heart that is open and receptive to the continuous flow of blessings, fostering a deep sense of self-compassion. The act of consciously identifying and appreciating the positive aspects of our year, however small, lays a fertile ground for a deeper form of gratitude. It prepares us to recognize that even in the face of challenges, in the midst of what might have initially seemed like setbacks or difficulties, there are profound lessons and hidden blessings. We are now ready to explore how even the thorns, the sharp edges of our experiences, can serve a purpose, protecting and guiding us towards greater wisdom and resilience. We will delve into how to find appreciation for growth, even when it arises from discomfort, understanding that every part of our journey, even the arduous, contributes to our Dharma and leads to deeper self-knowledge. Gratitude for growth, even the thorns have purpose. Having opened our hearts to the myriad gifts of the past year, cultivating a profound sense of gratitude for what has been given, we now delve into an even deeper, more nuanced aspect of appreciation, finding gratitude for growth, particularly when that growth has sprung from the fertile ground of challenge and discomfort. It is easy to be thankful for joy and success, but true wisdom, or prajna, emerges when we can recognize the inherent purpose in difficulties, the lessons embedded within setbacks, and the strength forged in moments of struggle. Just as a rose bush requires thorns for protection, our own journey often necessitates sharp edges to guide us, to teach us, and ultimately, to help us blossom into our fullest potential. This understanding cultivates a profound sense of acceptance and self-compassion, allowing us to see the Dharma unfolding in every experience, even those that initially appear painful, guiding us towards a resilient Buddha mind. In a serene, meticulously cared for Zen garden, known for its exquisite roses, lived a dedicated gardener named Botan. He spent his days tending to the vibrant blooms, his hands gently pruning, his eyes keen to every detail of growth. Botan loved the soft petals, the intoxicating fragrance, and the delicate beauty of his roses. Yet he also understood and respected the thorns. He knew that these sharp defenses, though they could prick and wound, were not an imperfection, but an essential part of the rose's being, a vital aspect of its Dharma. They protected the tender blossoms from hungry creatures and harsh elements, allowing the rose to thrive and unfurl its beauty. He observed them not with aversion, but with a deep sense of equanimity, recognizing their inherent purpose in the natural flow of life. One spring morning, a new apprentice, Renji, who was only accustomed to the beauty of the blossoms, cried out in frustration as a thorn pricked his finger while he was tending to a particularly thorny bush. "Master Botan," he lamented, holding his bleeding finger, "why do these beautiful roses have such painful thorns? They seem to exist only to cause harm, to mar the perfection of the flower." Renji, caught in his own Trishna for an idealized, pain-free existence, found it difficult to reconcile the beauty with the sharpness, unable to see beyond the immediate discomfort. He longed for a garden entirely free of anything that could cause him even the slightest bit of suffering, unaware that such a desire was itself a source of his discontent, pulling him away from full presence. Master Botan gently took Renji's hand, examining the small prick. "Renji," he said softly, his voice calm and reassuring, The thorn is not there to cause harm, but to protect. Without these thorns, the delicate rose would be vulnerable, devoured by deer or damaged by harsh winds. Its very survival, its ability to produce such exquisite flowers, depends on these defenses. The thorns are not a flaw, they are a necessary part of its strength, its resilience. Just as the rose needs its thorns, we too need our challenges, our difficult moments. They are the things that protect us, that teach us boundaries, that strengthen our resolve, and ultimately allow us to bloom more fully. They are not imperfections, but essential elements of our original nature. He continued, "Imagine if the rose wished away its thorns, it would quickly perish. In the same way, if we wish away all our difficulties, we deny ourselves the very experiences that foster our deepest growth, our most profound wisdom. The pain of the thorn is a lesson in caution, in awareness. It teaches us to move with care, to respect boundaries, both our own and others. To find gratitude for the thorn is to find gratitude for the lesson, for the protection, for the growth it facilitates. It is to embrace the full spectrum of life, the beauty and the bite, with a sense of equanimity and acceptance, recognizing the sufficiency in every experience, even the challenging ones. This profound insight from Master Botan speaks directly to the practice of finding gratitude for growth that arises from challenge. It encourages us to look beyond the immediate discomfort or perceived negativity of a difficult experience and to recognize its deeper purpose in our personal dharma. Just as the thorn protects the rose, our challenges often protect us from greater harm, teach us vital lessons, or redirect us towards a more authentic path. By cultivating and observing awareness, we can see these difficulties not as random acts of misfortune, but as integral parts of our unfolding journey, contributing to our prajna, our wisdom. This allows us to practice detachment from the desire for a perpetually smooth path, embracing the beauty of imperfection. As the Buddha taught, it is in the nature of things that joy arises in a person free from remorse. When we can find purpose and even gratitude in our past challenges, we release the remorse and regret that often cling to them. Pema Chodron, a contemporary Buddhist nun, often says, "The bad news is you're falling through the air. Nothing to hang on to, no parachute. The good news is there's no ground." This metaphorical teaching encourages us to embrace the uncertainty and freefall of life, finding liberation in letting go. Shunryu Suzuki Roshi reminded us, "Each moment is all we need, not more." This emphasizes that every experience, even the thorny ones, holds complete meaning within itself if we approach it with a beginner's mind and full presence, fostering a deep sense of contentment. Renji listened, his initial pain slowly receding, replaced by a quiet awe. He looked at his pricked finger, then at the rose bush, and finally at the master's serene face. He began to understand that the thorns were not separate from the rose's beauty, but an intrinsic part of it, a testament to its resilience and its will to thrive. He realized that his own frustrations and setbacks over the past year, which he had so readily labeled as bad, might have served a similar protective or guiding purpose. A wave of gratitude, not just for the beautiful flowers, but for the entire complex ecosystem of the garden, including its defenses, washed over him. He felt a profound sense of acceptance for the entirety of life's unfolding, embracing its Wabi-Sabi beauty, its imperfection, and its inherent wisdom. This practice of finding gratitude for growth, even in the thorns of our year, is a profound act of self-compassion. It allows us to integrate all our experiences, both pleasant and challenging, into a holistic understanding of our journey. By recognizing the purpose in difficulties, we transform potential sources of suffering into valuable lessons, cultivating a resilient spirit and a deeper connection to our inner strength. This perspective fosters a deep sense of contentment, knowing that every moment, every experience has contributed to the person we are becoming, guiding us towards inner freedom and a profound sense of sufficiency in our original nature. As we carry this understanding of gratitude, not just for the easy blessings, but for the profound growth born of challenges, we begin to feel a deeper connection to the intricate web of life. We recognize that our journey is not undertaken in isolation, but is interwoven with the lives of others. This awareness naturally leads us to extend our gratitude beyond our personal experiences, to the relationships and connections that have sustained and enriched us. We are now ready to explore the warmth of connection, acknowledging the Sangha, the community, that has supported us throughout the year, understanding that our collective journey is a source of immense strength, wisdom, and profound self-knowledge. The warmth of connection, gratitude for Sangha. Having cultivated a profound gratitude for both the blessings and the transformative growth arising from challenges, we now turn our hearts towards the warmth of human connection, extending our appreciation to the Sangha, the community that has enriched our journey throughout the past year. We are not isolated beings. Our lives are intricately woven into a vast tapestry of relationships, interactions, and shared experiences. From the closest bonds of family and friendship to the fleeting smiles of strangers, each connection, however small, contributes to our well-being and sense of belonging. Recognizing and honoring these connections fosters a deep sense of inner peace, reminding us of our interconnectedness and the profound support we receive, often unconsciously. This appreciation for Sangha is a vital aspect of our Dharma, cultivating self-knowledge and a compassionate Buddha mind, rooted in our original nature. In ancient times, across vast and rugged landscapes, small bands of pilgrims often embarked on arduous journeys to sacred sites, seeking wisdom and spiritual insight. These were not solitary treks. Rather, they were communal endeavors, undertaken with a deep understanding that the path was best walked together. One such group, diverse in age and background, but united by a common purpose, set out on a long pilgrimage through treacherous mountain passes and dense whispering forests. The air was often thin and cold, the paths steep and unforgiving, yet a palpable sense of camaraderie and mutual support permeated their small community. Each step was a testament to their collective resilience, their shared commitment to the journey, and their profound reliance on one another, forming a living, breathing Sangha. Among this group were an elderly woman named Hana, whose steps were slow but steady, and a strong young man named Kenzo, whose youthful vigor often led the way. Hana sometimes stumbled on the rocky terrain, her breath growing shallow in the high altitudes. In those moments, Kenzo, without a word, would offer his arm, his steady presence a silent anchor. When the provisions ran low, or the weather turned harsh, it was Hana's quiet wisdom, drawn from a lifetime of experience, that often guided their decisions. Her calm words a balm to the group's anxieties. Each person brought their unique strengths and vulnerabilities to the journey, weaving a rich pattern of interdependence. There was no Trishna for individual glory, only a collective desire to reach their destination together, fostering a deep sense of contentment in their shared experience. One evening, huddled around a small, crackling fire under a canopy of countless stars, the pilgrims reflected on the day's difficult climb. The wind howled softly through the pines, and the distant cry of an owl echoed in the vast silence. A feeling of exhaustion mingled with a profound sense of gratitude settled over the group. It was then that Hannah spoke, her voice raspy but clear. "This path," she mused, gazing into the dancing flames, "is too hard for any one person to walk alone. We have faced fear, hunger, and doubt. But each time one of us faltered, another offered a hand, a word of encouragement, a shared meal. We are not just individuals walking this path. We are the path itself, woven together by our shared breath and our common intention. Our Sangha is our greatest strength, our greatest blessing. Without each of you, my journey would be impossible, or at the very least, profoundly diminished." This heartfelt acknowledgement from Hannah beautifully illustrates the profound importance of Sangha, the spiritual community in our lives. It reminds us that our personal growth and well-being are deeply intertwined with the support, kindness, and shared humanity of others. Whether it is a formal spiritual community, a close circle of friends, or the broader web of human connection, these relationships provide comfort, challenge, and perspective. By consciously cultivating gratitude for these connections, we strengthen our bonds, foster a sense of belonging, and deepen our understanding of our own interconnectedness. Recognizing that our individual journeys are always part of a larger, collective dharma, leading us towards a deeper sense of self-knowledge and inner freedom. As the Buddha taught, to have good friends, companions, and associates is the whole of the holy life. This emphasizes the fundamental role of Sangha in our spiritual journey. Thich Nhat Hanh, a great advocate for community, often said, "The next Buddha will not be an individual. The next Buddha will be a Sangha, a community practicing mindfulness together." This highlights the collective power of shared practice and mutual support. Alan Yortz, in his unique way, noted, "You are the universe experiencing itself." This profound statement underscores our inherent interconnectedness, reminding us that we are never truly alone, and that every interaction is an opportunity for deeper understanding and connection, fostering a profound sense of sufficiency in our shared human experience. Kenzo, listening to Hannah's words, felt a surge of warmth in his chest. He looked around at the faces illuminated by the flickering firelight, seeing not just individuals, but a collective heart beating in unison. He remembered the times he had offered his strength and the times he had received quiet support. He understood that his youthful vigor, while valuable, was incomplete without the wisdom of Hannah, the laughter of the children, and the shared burdens of the group. A deep sense of humility and gratitude settled over him, releasing any lingering trishna for solitary achievement. He realized that the true richness of the pilgrimage lay not just in reaching the destination, but in the shared journey, in the warmth of the connections forged along the way, a testament to the beauty of imperfection in human relationships. This conscious recognition of the Sangha in our lives is a powerful practice of detachment from the illusion of separate self. It reminds us that our joys are amplified and our sorrows are softened when shared with others. As we reflect on the past year, let us bring to mind those who have supported us, inspired us, challenged us, or simply walked alongside us, even for a brief moment. By offering our heartfelt gratitude to these connections, we strengthen the threads of our shared humanity, nurturing a compassionate heart and a deeper sense of inner peace. This fosters a profound sense of contentment, knowing that we are part of something larger, a continuous flow of connection and care, allowing us to connect with our Buddha mind. Cultivating gratitude for our Sangha, for the warmth of connection, deepens our appreciation for the interconnectedness of all beings. It is a profound act of self-compassion, recognizing that we all need each other to navigate the complexities of life. This awareness of our shared humanity naturally extends beyond mere appreciation, flowing into a more active and expansive form of compassion and loving kindness. We are now ready to explore the practice of metta, cultivating a warm and open heart towards ourselves and all beings, understanding that true benevolence arises organically from a heart filled with gratitude, leading us towards a deeper sense of self-knowledge and a profound connection to our original nature. A thankful heart, the practice of metta. Building upon our profound gratitude for the Sangha, for the invaluable warmth of connection, we now gently extend our awareness to a practice that flows naturally from such appreciation, the cultivation of metta, or loving kindness. Metta is not merely a fleeting emotion, but a boundless, all-encompassing benevolence, a sincere wish for the well-being and happiness of ourselves and all beings. It is a profound act of opening the heart, dissolving the subtle barriers of self-centeredness, and radiating a gentle, unconditional warmth outward. This practice, often paired with karuna, or compassion, deepens our inner peace and transforms our relationship with the world, moving us beyond the confines of Trishna and into a state of profound acceptance and universal connection. It is a direct pathway to our Buddha mind, illuminating our original nature with boundless love, fostering a deep sense of self-compassion. In a quiet village nestled in a valley often shrouded in mist, there lived a wise elder named Ananda, known throughout the region for her extraordinary inner peace and the radiant warmth that seemed to emanate from her very being. Her home, a simple cottage surrounded by a small, fragrant herb garden, was a sanctuary for all who sought solace or guidance. Ananda had a unique morning ritual. She would sit by her window, looking out at the waking world, and silently offer metta. Her gaze would sweep across the dew-kissed fields, over the winding river, and towards the distant mountains, her heart silently whispering wishes of well-being, not just for herself, but for every living creature, every person, every plant, every drop of water that formed the tapestry of her world, fostering a profound sense of full presence. Ananda's metta practice began with herself. She would first gently wish herself freedom from suffering, freedom from inner turmoil, and a deep sense of well-being. Then, she would extend this loving kindness to those closest to her, her family, her friends, her neighbors in the village. She would visualize them happy, healthy, and at peace, feeling a genuine warmth spread through her chest. Slowly, she would broaden her circle, extending metta to strangers, to those she found difficult, and eventually to all beings without exception. This was not a forced exercise, but a natural unfolding of her compassionate heart, a profound act of detachment from judgment, and a deep embrace of equanimity. The air around her seemed to soften, imbued with the quiet intensity of her benevolent wishes, a tangible sense of inner peace. One day, a young, troubled merchant named Hiroki, whose heart was heavy with the burdens of business and the sting of perceived slights, came to Ananda seeking advice. He felt a constant sense of agitation, a subtle trishna for more wealth and recognition, and found it difficult to connect with others, often feeling isolated. He observed Ananda's serene demeanor and asked, "Ananda, How do you maintain such unwavering peace and kindness in a world that is often harsh and demanding? My heart feels so closed, so often filled with resentment and worry. His words were tinged with a deep yearning for the tranquility he witnessed in her, a quiet desperation for a way to escape his own suffering. He longed to feel the same sense of contentment that seemed to effortlessly radiate from her. Ananda listened patiently, her eyes holding a deep understanding. "Hiroki," she replied, her voice soft and melodious like a gentle stream. "The world indeed has its harshness, but the state of our heart is our own garden to tend. When we allow resentment and worry to take root, they choke out the flowers of peace and connection. My practice of metta is like watering that garden with loving kindness. I begin by wishing myself well, for how can I offer genuine kindness to others if my own heart is parched? Then I extend that wish outward, understanding that every being, just like me, desires happiness and freedom from suffering. This is not about condoning harmful actions, but about recognizing the shared humanity, the shared vulnerability in all of us, fostering a deep sense of acceptance for the imperfection of life." This gentle teaching from Ananda beautifully illustrates the essence of metta and karuna. It is a practice of universal love and compassion, starting with oneself and expanding outward. By actively wishing well for others, even those who might have caused us difficulty, we begin to dissolve the walls of resentment and judgment, freeing ourselves from the suffering caused by Trishna. This cultivation of a warm, open heart is a profound act of self-knowledge, revealing our inherent capacity for love and connection. It reminds us that our true nature, our Buddha mind, is one of boundless compassion, fostering a deep sense of inner freedom and a profound connection to our original nature. As Thich Nhat Hanh taught, the source of love is within us. We don't have to go out to seek it. This highlights that metta is an inherent quality we cultivate from within. The Buddha himself stated, "Just as a mother would protect her only child with her life, even so, let one cultivate a boundless love towards all beings." This ancient teaching underscores the expansive, unconditional nature of metta. Pema Chodron also advises, "Compassion is not a relationship between the healer and the wounded. It's a relationship between equals." No. This reminds us that in metta, we recognize the shared humanity and vulnerability of all beings, fostering a profound sense of equanimity and detachment from the desire to fix or control, simply wishing well. Hiroki sat in silence for a long moment, allowing Ananda's words to sink deep into his heart. He began to feel a subtle softening within his chest, a release of the tension he had carried for so long. He realized that his constant striving and his focus on perceived slights had created a barrier between himself and the world. He started to understand that by opening his heart, by actively wishing well for others, he was not only helping them, but profoundly healing himself. A sense of peace, a quiet contentment he had not felt in years began to emerge. He felt a deep sense of sufficiency in simply being present, in simply wishing well, recognizing the profound power of his own Buddha mind. This practice of metta, of cultivating a thankful and compassionate heart, is a vital component of our journey towards inner peace and well-being. It allows us to transcend our individual concerns and connect with the universal longing for happiness that resides in all beings. As we reflect on the past year, let us extend metta to ourselves for all we have navigated and to all those who have been a part of our journey, whether in joy or in challenge. This act of boundless loving kindness deepens our gratitude and prepares our hearts for a profound sense of acceptance, recognizing that every moment is an opportunity to cultivate compassion and connect with our original nature. As we gently expand our capacity for metta, cultivating a thankful heart filled with loving kindness for ourselves and all beings, we deepen our understanding of what truly brings contentment. This profound shift in perspective, from craving to compassion, naturally leads us to appreciate the concept of sufficiency in simplicity. We are now ready to explore how finding enough in what already is, rather than always seeking more, aligns us with the natural flow of Wu Wei, fostering a deep and abiding sense of contentment and inner freedom, allowing us to release the subtle grip of Trishna and embrace the profound wisdom of our Buddha mind. Sufficiency in simplicity, contentment, and Wu Wei. Having opened our hearts to the expansive practice of metta, cultivating loving kindness for ourselves and all beings, we now turn our attention to a profound truth that naturally arises from such a compassionate heart, the wisdom of sufficiency in simplicity. In a world that often urges us towards constant accumulation and endless striving, a subtle Trishna for more, the path of Zen invites us to discover a deep and abiding contentment in what already is, in the present moment, in the richness of the ordinary. This is not about deprivation, but about recognizing the inherent completeness of our existence and aligning ourselves with the natural flow of Wu Wei, effortless action. By embracing this truth, we cultivate profound inner peace, release the burden of constant craving, and connect with our original nature, our Buddha mind, understanding the deep wisdom of detachment. High in the mist-shrouded mountains, where ancient pines clung to rocky cliffs and waterfalls cascaded into crystal-clear pools, lived a hermit named Old Master Bao. His dwelling was a simple hut, fashioned from rough-hewn logs and thatched with dried reeds, blending seamlessly into the natural landscape. Bao possessed only a few meager possessions: a worn meditation mat, a single ceramic bowl, a bamboo flute, and a threadbare robe. Yet, his face was perpetually serene, his eyes held a profound depth, and his spirit radiated a quiet joy that many wealthy villagers, burdened by their possessions and their desires, could only dream of. He moved with a graceful ease, his actions flowing with the natural rhythm of the mountain, embodying the very essence of Wu Wei. The air around his hut was always still, filled with the scent of damp earth and the distant sound of rushing water, a profound sense of full presence. One day, a young, ambitious scholar named Liang, who was tirelessly pursuing knowledge and recognition, decided to seek out Master Bao, hoping to gain some profound secret to success or enlightenment. Liang arrived at the hermit's hut breathless from the climb, his satchel heavy with books and scrolls, his mind agitated by a constant trishna for more understanding, more achievement. He looked around at Bao's humble abode, a stark contrast to his own comfortable home, filled with intricate furnishings and endless texts. "Master Bao," Liang began, his voice strained with urgency, "I have traveled far to learn from your wisdom. What is your secret to such profound peace with so little? I strive endlessly, yet contentment eludes me." He was deeply puzzled by the apparent paradox of so much inner richness with so little material wealth, a challenge to his preconceived notions of happiness. Master Bao, who was gently stirring a pot of wild greens over a small fire, looked up at Liang, his gaze calm and unwavering. "Liang," he replied softly, "there is no secret, only observation. Look around you. Does the mountain strive to be taller? Does the river force its waters to flow faster? No, they simply are. They exist in a state of natural flow, of wu-wei. My peace comes not from having more, but from recognizing the profound sufficiency of what already is. This bowl, he held up his simple ceramic vessel, is empty, and because it is empty, it can hold water, or rice, or the reflection of the sky. It is enough. My hut protects me from the elements. It is enough. The air I breathe, the water I drink, the simple food I gather, these are all gifts. They are enough. My contentment arises from releasing the craving for what is not and embracing the richness of what is, right here, right now. This teaching from Master Bao is a beautiful exposition of sufficiency in simplicity and the principle of wu-wei. It challenges the common misconception that happiness is found in accumulation or striving. Instead, it points to a profound inner peace that arises when we release our Trishna, our relentless craving for more, and recognize the inherent completeness of the present moment. Wu-wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, is not about doing nothing, but about aligning our actions with the natural flow of life, acting without attachment to outcomes, without forcing or manipulating. This allows for a deeper sense of contentment, freeing us from the endless pursuit of external validation or possessions, and fostering a deep sense of self-knowledge and acceptance. As the ancient Taoist sage Lao Tzu taught, "He who knows he has enough is rich." This timeless wisdom perfectly aligns with the concept of sufficiency. Alan Watts, a great interpreter of Eastern philosophy, often emphasized, "The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance." This speaks to the effortless action of wu-wei, moving with the natural flow rather than against it. Thich Nhat Hanh gently reminds us, "There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way." His words underscore that contentment is not a destination to be reached through endless striving, but a state of being cultivated in the present moment through mindfulness and acceptance of what is, recognizing the profound sufficiency of each breath. Liang, initially perplexed, began to feel a subtle shift within him as Master Bao spoke. The tension in his shoulders eased, and the relentless chatter of his mind began to quiet. He looked at his heavy satchel, filled with what he thought were necessities, and then at Bao's simple bowl, which seemed to hold an entire universe of contentment. He realized that his constant pursuit of more knowledge, more recognition, more possessions, had created an endless cycle of dissatisfaction, a perpetual hunger that could never truly be filled. He saw that true wealth was not in what one owned, but in the spaciousness of a mind free from craving, a heart at peace with the present moment. A profound sense of detachment from his material desires began to settle over him, an embrace of the beauty of imperfection. This practice of embracing sufficiency and simplicity, of aligning with wu-wei, is a powerful antidote to the pervasive Trishna that often defines our modern lives. As we reflect on the past year, it is an invitation to recognize where we have been caught in the endless cycle of wanting more, and to consciously choose a path of contentment with what is. By releasing our attachment to external measures of success or happiness, we cultivate a deep wellspring of inner peace, a profound sense of self-acceptance, and a connection to our original nature. This allows us to experience the profound liberation that comes from realizing that we already have everything we truly need, right here, right now, fostering a deep sense of self-compassion and a resilient Buddha mind. Cultivating contentment through sufficiency and simplicity and the natural flow of wu-wei releases us from the subtle grip of trishna. It allows us to experience a deep inner peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. This profound shift in perspective naturally leads us to a deeper understanding of detachment, not as indifference, but as a graceful release of our expectations and fixed ideas about how things should be. We are now ready to explore the art of letting go, specifically from the attachments to outcomes, understanding that true freedom and peace arise when we release our grip on what we cannot control, allowing life to unfold with a sense of equanimity and profound acceptance. The art of letting go, detachment from outcomes. Having embraced the profound wisdom of sufficiency and simplicity and the natural flow of wu-wei, finding contentment in what already is, we now turn our contemplative focus to one of the most liberating practices in Zen Buddhism, the art of letting go, particularly detachment from outcomes. Our minds often cling fiercely to specific results, to how we believe things should unfold, to the fruits of our efforts. This subtle, yet powerful, trishna for control and certainty often becomes a primary source of suffering, or dukkha, when reality inevitably deviates from our expectations. Letting go is not about apathy or inaction, but about cultivating a deep sense of inner freedom, an equanimity that allows us to engage fully with life, pour our hearts into our actions, and then gracefully release our grip on the results, trusting in the natural unfolding of the Dharma. This practice is a direct path to self-knowledge and a tranquil Buddha mind rooted in our original nature. In a tranquil village nestled beside a slow-moving river, renowned for its exquisite calligraphy, lived a master calligrapher named Haru. His brushstrokes were legendary, each character a perfect balance of strength and grace, imbued with a profound sense of full presence. Haru spent countless hours practicing, his movements fluid and precise, his focus unwavering. Yet, despite his mastery, he understood a crucial truth about his art. The moment he became too attached to creating a perfect stroke, the moment his mind clung to an idealized outcome, his hand would stiffen, his breath would catch, and the natural flow of his brush would be lost. The ink would smudge, the line would waver, and the intended beauty would elude him. He knew that the very act of craving perfection was what prevented it, creating a subtle suffering within his artistic process. The scent of ink and aged paper filled his studio, a constant reminder of his diligent practice. One crisp autumn morning, a young, ambitious student named Ren, who yearned for Haru's level of mastery, observed his teacher meticulously preparing his ink and paper. Ren had spent weeks trying to perfect a single character, endlessly frustrated by his inability to achieve the flawless lines he envisioned. His mind was consumed by the desire for a perfect outcome, a subtle trishna that kept him in a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. "Master Haru?" Ren asked, his voice tinged with his usual impatience. "How do you achieve such effortless perfection? I strive and strive, yet my hand always falters. My characters never quite meet the ideal I hold in my mind. How do I make every stroke precisely as I intend?" He held up a crumpled piece of paper, covered in his failed attempts, his frustration palpable, his heart heavy with the weight of unfulfilled expectation. Master Haru gently took the crumpled paper, smoothed it out, and looked at Ren with a compassionate gaze. "Ren," he said softly, "the desire for perfection, while understandable, is a heavy burden for the hand and the heart. When you cling to the idea of a flawless outcome, you are no longer truly present with the brush, the ink, or the paper. Your mind is in the future, grasping at an image rather than flowing with the moment. This attachment, this craving, creates a tension that prevents the natural beauty from emerging. True artistry, like true living, is not about controlling every detail, but about engaging fully with the process, pouring your heart into each action, and then gracefully releasing your grip on the result. It is the art of detachment from outcomes. He continued, imagine the river. It flows, carving its path, shaping the stones, nurturing life along its banks. It does not cling to the water that has passed, nor does it worry about where it will end. It simply flows, moment by moment, embodying Wu Wei. Similarly, when I paint, I become one with the brush. I pour my intention, my energy, my spirit into the stroke. But once the ink touches the paper, that moment is gone, and the character is what it is. I do not regret the past stroke, nor do I fret about the next. I simply observe, accept, and move on. This practice of letting go allows the natural beauty, the wabi-sabi of the stroke, to reveal itself even in its imperfection. It is a profound act of self-compassion. This teaching from Master Haru eloquently explains the practice of detachment from outcomes. It is not about being careless or indifferent to our efforts. On the contrary, it is about engaging with full presence and dedication, but then consciously releasing our attachment to the specific results. When we cling to outcomes, we create a constant source of trishna and inevitably dukkha, because reality rarely conforms perfectly to our mental blueprints. By practicing letting go, we cultivate a deep sense of equanimity, allowing us to appreciate the process, learn from every experience, and find a profound inner peace that is independent of external validation or success, fostering a deep sense of sufficiency in the present moment, recognizing our original nature. As the Buddha taught, give up the past, give up the future, give up the present. Cross over to the farther shore of existence. With mind wholly liberated, you will not again return to birth and decay. This powerful teaching speaks to the ultimate liberation found in radical detachment. Thich Nhat Hanh often said, letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. He underscores the direct link between releasing our grip and finding true joy. Pema Chodron, in her Practical Wisdom, advises, the most fundamental aggression to ourselves, the most fundamental harm we can do to ourselves, is to remain ignorant by not having the courage to look at what is unpleasant. This encourages us to face our attachments directly, to observe them with awareness, and then to consciously choose to let them go, cultivating a profound sense of self-knowledge and a resilient Buddha mind. Ren listened, his crumpled papers still in hand, but his gaze now shifted from the perceived flaws to the deeper wisdom in Haru's words. He realized that his frustration stemmed not from a lack of skill, but from his relentless trishna for control, his inability to accept the natural flow of the creative process. He took a deep breath and for the first time looked at his imperfect characters not with judgment, but with a quiet sense of curiosity. He saw the energy in some lines, the unexpected grace in others, the raw honesty in all of them. A profound sense of release washed over him, a lightness in his hand and heart. He felt a deep sense of contentment, not in having achieved perfection, but in the very act of letting go, allowing himself to be present with the unfolding moment, embracing the beauty of imperfection. This practice of detachment from outcomes is a profound gift we can offer ourselves as we reflect on the past year. It invites us to review our efforts, our successes, and our perceived failures, not with a critical eye, but but with a compassionate heart that understands the true nature of impermanence. We have poured our energy into countless endeavors, and now we are invited to gracefully release our grip on the results. By letting go of how we think things should have turned out, we free ourselves from the suffering of regret and disappointment, creating space for acceptance and inner peace. This allows us to move forward with a renewed sense of purpose, unburdened by the past, ready to embrace the unfolding future with a spirit of open awareness, fostering a profound sense of self-compassion. As we gently practice the art of letting go, releasing our attachments to the outcomes of the past year, we begin to see the profound beauty in the transient and the imperfect. This understanding of detachment naturally leads us to a deeper appreciation for Wabi-Sabi, the aesthetic wisdom that finds grace and meaning in the unfinished, the flawed, and the impermanent. We are now ready to explore this exquisite philosophy, recognizing that true beauty does not reside in flawless perfection, but in the authentic, lived experience of existence, embracing the natural flow of life and finding profound contentment in its unique and ever-changing tapestry, revealing our Buddha mind. Wabi-Sabi, the beauty of imperfection. Having gently practiced the art of letting go, releasing our attachments to fixed outcomes, and embracing a profound sense of detachment, we now turn our contemplative gaze to an exquisite aesthetic and philosophical concept, Wabi-Sabi. This Japanese wisdom tradition finds profound beauty and meaning in the transient, the imperfect, and the incomplete. In a world that often prizes flawless perfection and newness, Wabi-Sabi invites us to appreciate the subtle grace found in authenticity, in the marks of time, in the natural wear and tear of existence. It is a powerful antidote to Trishna, the craving for an idealized, unblemished reality, fostering a deep sense of contentment and inner peace. By embracing the Wabi-Sabi of our past year, and indeed our lives, we cultivate a profound acceptance of what is, recognizing the inherent sufficiency in every moment, and connecting with our original nature, our Buddha mind. In a small, unassuming tea house, nestled in a bamboo grove where the wind whispered through the tall stalks, lived a revered tea master named Kenzo. His tea ceremonies were renowned not for their opulence or grandeur, but for their profound simplicity, their quiet elegance, and the deep sense of peace they evoked. Kenzo possessed a collection of tea bowls, some centuries old, passed down through generations. Among his most cherished pieces was a particular ceramic bowl, crafted by a humble artisan long ago. It was not perfectly symmetrical, its glaze was uneven, and it bore a distinct hairline crack, meticulously repaired with gold lacquer, a technique known as kintsugi. This bowl, far from being considered flawed, was held in the highest esteem by Kenzo, its history and imperfections contributing to its profound beauty. The subtle aroma of green tea and damp earth filled his serene space. One afternoon, a wealthy patron, accustomed to flawless, pristine objects, attended one of Kenzo's ceremonies. He admired the master's grace, the delicate aroma of the tea, and the serene atmosphere. However, when Kenzo presented the tea in his favorite, subtly cracked bowl, the patron, whose mind was accustomed to a Trishna for perfection, could not help but feel a slight disappointment. "Master Kenzo," he inquired, his voice polite but betraying a hint of confusion, "this bowl, while clearly old, has a noticeable flaw, a crack. Surely, a master of your stature possesses more perfect vessels for serving such exquisite tea." He struggled with the concept of using something that was not entirely pristine, his expectations clashing with the reality before him, creating a subtle internal suffering. Master Kenzo smiled gently, his eyes reflecting the deep wisdom of years. He carefully held the cracked bowl, turning it slowly so the golden repair caught the light. "Sir," he began, his voice soft yet resonant, "this bowl, with its golden repair, is one of my most treasured possessions. The crack speaks of its journey, of a moment of breakage, and of the care taken to mend it. The golden lines do not hide the flaw, they honor it, illuminating its history, its resilience. If this bowl were perfectly flawless, it would tell no story. Its imperfections, its wabi-sabi, are precisely what give it its unique character, its depth, its authentic beauty. It reminds us that life itself is full of breaks and mends, and that true beauty often lies in embracing these experiences rather than striving for an unattainable perfection. It is a profound lesson in acceptance." He continued, "When we seek only what is flawless, we miss the profound grace in what is transient, what is incomplete, what is subtly worn by time. This bowl, with its wabi-sabi, teaches us detachment from the ideal and a deep appreciation for the inherent beauty of imperfection. It reminds us that every experience, every mark of time, every mended wound adds to the richness of our being. It is a testament to the fact that healing does not erase the past, but transforms it into something new, something even more beautiful. In this bowl, I find a deep sense of contentment, a profound appreciation for the sufficiency of what is, exactly as it is, without the need for anything more, embodying a deep sense of inner peace." This beautiful teaching from Master Kenzo eloquently explains the philosophy of Wabi-Sabi. It is an aesthetic of profound acceptance, a recognition that genuine beauty resides not in flawless perfection, but in the authentic, often weathered and impermanent nature of things. It challenges our Trishna for an idealized reality, inviting us to find grace in the signs of aging, in the asymmetry, in the subtle nuances of decay and renewal. By embracing Wabi-Sabi, we cultivate a deep sense of inner peace and contentment, releasing the suffering that arises from trying to force life into a perfect, unblemished mold. It is a powerful practice of letting go, allowing us to appreciate the richness of our experiences exactly as they are, recognizing our original nature. As Alan Watts, a great interpreter of Eastern thought, often said, "The universe is not a machine, it's an organism." This organic view aligns perfectly with Wabi-Sabi, embracing the natural, often imperfect flow of life. Shunryu Suzuki Roshi, in his teachings, emphasized the importance of just sitting, shikantaza, allowing ourselves to be fully present with whatever arises, including imperfection, without judgment. Thich Nhat Hanh gently reminds us, when you plant a lettuce, if it does not grow well, you don't blame the lettuce. You look for reasons it is not doing well. It may need fertilizer, or more water, or less sun. You never blame the lettuce. Yet if we have problems, we blame ourselves. This encourages self-compassion and acceptance, even for our own perceived flaws, seeing them as part of our wabi-sabi, our unique and unfolding dharma. The wealthy patron listened intently, his initial confusion slowly dissolving into a quiet understanding. He looked at the cracked bowl again, and this time he saw not a flaw, but a story. He saw resilience, history, and a unique beauty that his pristine, unblemished objects lacked. He realized that his own life, with its triumphs and its struggles, its moments of breakage and its subsequent mending, was also a Wabi-Sabi masterpiece, full of a profound authenticity that he had often overlooked in his pursuit of external perfection. A deep sense of detachment from his rigid ideals settled over him, replaced by a quiet awe for the profound sufficiency and imperfection of existence. He felt a newfound inner peace, a connection to his Buddha mind. This practice of embracing Wabi-Sabi is particularly potent as we reflect on the past year. It invites us to look at our experiences, our achievements, and our challenges, not through the lens of an idealized perfection, but with an appreciative eye for their authentic, often imperfect beauty. We can find grace in the unexpected detours, the unfinished projects, the moments of struggle, and the quiet resilience that emerged from them. By doing so, we release the burden of self-judgment and cultivate a profound sense of gratitude for the entirety of our journey, recognizing that every mark of time, every mended crack, adds to the unique and exquisite tapestry of our lives, fostering a deep sense of self-knowledge and self-compassion. Embracing the beauty of imperfection through Wabi-Sabi allows us to release the subtle grip of Trishna, the craving for an idealized reality. It cultivates a profound sense of acceptance and contentment with what is exactly as it is. This understanding of our own authentic, imperfect journey naturally leads us to a deeper reflection on the nature of self itself. We are now ready to delve into the concept of anatta, or no self, exploring how releasing our fixed self-image can bring profound liberation and inner freedom, allowing us to connect with our original nature, recognizing that our true essence is fluid, interconnected, and boundless, a true Buddha mind. Anatta, releasing the fixed self-image. Having embraced the exquisite wisdom of Wabi-Sabi, finding beauty in the imperfect and transient nature of all things, we now turn our contemplative awareness to one of the most radical and liberating teachings in Buddhism, anatta, or no self. This concept challenges our deeply ingrained tendency to cling to a fixed, permanent, and independent sense of I, or me. Anatta does not mean that we do not exist, but rather that what we perceive as a solid, unchanging self is, in reality, a dynamic, interconnected, and constantly flowing process, empty of an inherent, separate essence. By releasing our attachment to a rigid self-image, we free ourselves from the suffering of Trishna, the craving to maintain a fixed identity, and open ourselves to profound inner freedom, a boundless connection to our original nature, our Buddha mind. This practice fosters deep self-knowledge and self-compassion, allowing us to embody a true sense of detachment. In a quiet mountain retreat, known for its rigorous meditation practices, lived a dedicated meditator named Sora. She had spent years diligently observing her thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations, striving to understand the nature of her own being. Sora, like many, initially believed in a solid, unchanging self that resided somewhere within her, an essential core that remained constant despite the shifts of her experiences. Her practice of vipassana, or insightful observation, was initially driven by a subtle Trishna to find and solidify this core self, to define who she truly was, to gain a definitive understanding of her identity. She would sit for hours, her back straight, her breath steady, meticulously scrutinizing every internal phenomenon, hoping to pinpoint the elusive I. The stillness of the meditation hall was profound. broken only by the gentle rustling of leaves outside and the quiet creak of the ancient wooden floor. As Sora deepened her Vipassana practice, she began to notice something remarkable. Her thoughts, which she once considered hers, appeared and disappeared like clouds in the sky, arising from causes and conditions, then dissolving back into the vastness of her awareness. Her emotions, whether joy or sorrow, were equally transient, waves on the ocean of her being, constantly rising and falling. Even her physical sensations, the ache in her knees, the warmth of her breath, the subtle hum of her body, were in a perpetual state of flux, constantly changing, never truly fixed. She could not find a single, unchanging entity that she could definitively label as self. Every element she observed was impermanent, interconnected, and empty of an independent existence, a profound lesson in anicca. This observation, initially unsettling, began to bring Sora a profound sense of liberation. She realized that her suffering, her dukkha, had largely stemmed from her fierce clinging to a fixed self-image, a mental construct that was constantly at odds with the fluid, ever-changing reality of her experience. When she released the need to define who she was, when she let go of the attachment to a solid I, a vast spaciousness opened within her. She understood that her true nature was not a static entity, but an unfolding process, intimately connected to all of existence. This was anatta, the profound realization that there is no fixed, independent self to grasp onto, only the continuous flow of consciousness, a profound act of detachment. This realization of anatta, or no self, is a cornerstone of Buddhist wisdom. It is not about denying our existence, but about understanding the true nature of that existence, fluid, interdependent, and empty of a separate, unchanging essence. When we release our attachment to a fixed self-image, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of trying to protect, defend, or enhance that image, which is a primary source of trishna and suffering. This practice cultivates profound inner freedom, allowing us to engage with life with a beginner's mind, shoshin, open to all possibilities, unburdened by the constraints of a rigid identity. It is a pathway to deep contentment and a profound connection to our Buddha mind, our original nature. As the Buddha taught, all conditioned things are impermanent. All conditioned things are unsatisfactory. All phenomena are not self. This third pillar, anatta, is crucial for liberation. Shunryu Suzuki Roshi often taught, "Each of you is perfect the way you are, and you can use a little improvement." This paradox speaks to our inherent Buddha mind while acknowledging the journey of practice. Alan Watts, in his characteristic way, noted, "Trying to manage things, trying to force things to conform to our desires, is the cause of all our problems." Our desire to solidify a fixed self is one such management attempt. By letting go of this desire, we embrace our true nature, which is constantly unfolding and interconnected, fostering a deep sense of sufficiency in the present moment. Sora continued her meditation, but now with a profound lightness. She observed her thoughts, emotions, and sensations, not as possessions of a fixed self, but as phenomena arising and passing within the vast field of her awareness. She felt a deep sense of connection to everything around her, realizing that the boundary between self and other was far more porous than she had ever imagined. The stillness of the mountain, the rustling of the leaves, the distant sound of a bell, all felt like extensions of her own being. A profound inner peace settled over her, a quiet joy that stemmed not from achieving something, but from releasing the burden of identity, from truly embracing the beauty of imperfection and the wisdom of anatta. This practice of releasing the fixed self-image, of understanding anatta, is a profound act of self-compassion. It allows us to let go of the countless ways we judge ourselves, compare ourselves to others, or strive to be someone we are not. When we realize that our self is a fluid, ever-changing process, we free ourselves from the pressure to maintain a perfect image, to conform to external expectations, or to cling to past mistakes. This brings a deep sense of acceptance and equanimity, fostering a profound inner freedom and a peaceful contentment that arises from simply being, without the need for a fixed identity, a profound connection to our Buddha mind. As we gently absorb the liberating wisdom of anatta, releasing our attachment to a fixed self-image, we create an immense spaciousness within our hearts and minds. This profound understanding of no self, of our fluid and interconnected original nature, allows us to let go of the burdens we have carried, both consciously and unconsciously. We are now ready to embark on a conscious clearing of the path, gently releasing old regrets, grievances, and anything that no longer serves our highest well-being. We will explore how this act of letting go frees us from the past, lightening our load for the journey ahead, fostering a deeper sense of inner freedom and a profound connection to our Buddha mind. Clearing the path, releasing old burdens. Having absorbed the liberating wisdom of anatta, understanding the fluid and interconnected nature of our being, we now arrive at a crucial and deeply healing practice, consciously clearing the path by releasing old burdens. As the year draws to a close, it is a precious opportunity to gently let go of any lingering regrets, grievances, resentments, or self-judgments that we may still be carrying, often unconsciously. These emotional weights, born from attachment and trishna, can create subtle suffering, hindering our inner freedom and preventing us from fully embracing the present moment with a beginner's mind. This is not about forgetting the past, but about transforming our relationship with it, allowing us to move forward with a lighter heart, a profound sense of self-compassion, and a clear path ahead. This practice of letting go is a direct path to our Buddha mind, rooted in our original nature. In a distant land, rich with ancient traditions, pilgrims would often undertake journeys to a sacred mountain, a place believed to offer profound spiritual purification. The path to the summit was long and arduous, winding through dense forests and over steep, rocky terrain. It was customary for each pilgrim, as they embarked on this journey, to carry a small stone, symbolizing a personal burden they wished to release, a regret, a grievance, a fear, or a sense of guilt. The weight of these stones, though small individually, often grew heavy collectively, pressing down on the pilgrim's shoulders and spirit, a physical manifestation of their inner suffering, their trishna for control, or an idealized past. The air was often thick with the scent of damp earth and distant wood smoke, and the sounds of their labored breathing filled the quiet moments. Among these pilgrims was an elderly woman named Kiko, whose face bore the gentle lines of a life fully lived, marked by both joy and sorrow. She carried a small smooth river stone which she had carefully selected to represent a long-held regret about a choice she had made in her youth, a decision that had caused her much heartache over the years. Though she had tried to let it go many times, the weight of this memory, this attachment to a different outcome, still clung to her heart, creating a subtle suffering, a constant pull away from full presence, She walked slowly, her steps deliberate, her gaze often fixed on the ground before her, deeply aware of the physical and emotional burden she carried, a profound sense of imperfection that she had not yet fully embraced. The sacred mountain path was marked by a series of small, unassuming gates, each one representing a stage of release. At the final, highest gate, just before the summit, there stood a wise, serene gatekeeper whose eyes held the depth of ancient forests. As each pilgrim approached, the gatekeeper would greet them with a gentle smile and a quiet question. "Are you ready to release your burden, dear traveler, so that your heart may be light for the summit?" Kiko, her shoulders aching from the weight of her stone, approached the gate. She looked at the wise gatekeeper, then at the stone in her hand, and felt a profound yearning for liberation, a deep desire to finally sever her attachment to the past. The gatekeeper, observing Kiko's earnest gaze, spoke softly. "This stone," he said, gesturing to the one in her hand, "represents not just your past choice, but also your attachment to it, your trishna for what might have been. To release it is not to erase what happened, but to free yourself from its power to burden you now. It is an act of acceptance, of self-compassion, recognizing that you did the best you could with the understanding you had at the time. The path ahead is lighter when we do not drag the past behind us. This letting go creates space, like an empty bowl, for new beginnings, for inner freedom, allowing you to connect with your original nature, your Buddha mind." This powerful ritual of releasing the stone beautifully illustrates the practice of clearing the path by letting go of old burdens. It is an intentional act of detachment from regrets, grievances, and self-judgments that no longer serve our well-being. These burdens, often fueled by our craving for control or for an idealized past, create dukkha, suffering. By consciously releasing them, we do not deny their existence, but we choose to free ourselves from their emotional grip. This creates an immense spaciousness within our hearts and minds, fostering a profound sense of inner peace and allowing us to move forward with renewed energy and a lighter spirit, embracing the beauty of imperfection in our journey. As Thich Nhat Hanh taught, letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. This underscores the direct link between releasing burdens and finding true contentment. The Buddha himself emphasized, resentment is like drinking poison and then expecting the other person to die. This vivid metaphor highlights the self-inflicted suffering of clinging to grievances. Pema Chodron also advises, the most fundamental aggression to ourselves, the most fundamental harm we can do to ourselves, is to remain ignorant by not having the courage to look at what is unpleasant. This encourages us to face our burdens with awareness, and then to consciously choose to release them, fostering a profound sense of self-knowledge and a resilient Buddha mind. With a deep, cleansing breath, Kiko looked at her stone one last time, acknowledging the regret it represented, and then, with a profound sense of release, she placed it gently on a large pile of other stones beside the gate. As her hand withdrew, she felt an immediate and profound lightness, as if a physical weight had been lifted from her shoulders and her heart. A wave of inner peace washed over her, a quiet joy that stemmed not from the absence of the past, but from her newfound freedom from its power. She looked up at the summit, the path now appearing clearer, bathed in the soft morning light, and took her first truly unburdened step forward, feeling a deep sense of sufficiency in the present moment, a renewed connection to her original nature. This practice of consciously releasing old burdens is a profound act of self-compassion and a vital step in our year-end reflection. It invites us to identify any lingering regrets, resentments, or self-criticisms from the past year that we are still carrying. By bringing them to our awareness, acknowledging their presence without judgment, and then intentionally choosing to let them go, we free ourselves from their grip. This creates a clear path forward, allowing us to embrace the new year with a sense of renewal, a heart filled with gratitude, and a mind open to new possibilities, fostering a deep sense of contentment and inner freedom, embracing the wisdom of impermanence. As we gently clear the path, releasing the old burdens that no longer serve us, we cultivate a profound sense of spaciousness and lightness within our being. This intentional act of letting go prepares us for the next crucial step in our conscious retrospection. Engaging in equanimous observation, a practice of Vipassana for the past. We will learn to view our past events, both joyful and challenging, with a calm, balanced mind, free from reactivity, allowing us to glean their wisdom without getting entangled in their emotional residue, fostering a deeper sense of self-knowledge and a profound connection to our Buddha mind. Equanimous observation, Vipassana for the past. Having diligently cleared the path by releasing old burdens, we now settle into a profound practice of equanimous observation, a form of Vipassana, or insightful meditation applied to the tapestry of our past year. Our minds often revisit past events with strong emotional reactions, clinging to pleasant memories with Trishna, or recoiling from difficult ones with aversion. Equanimity, however, invites us to observe these memories with a calm, balanced mind, free from preference or judgment. It is about witnessing what has been without getting entangled in its emotional hooks, allowing us to learn from our experiences without being defined or burdened by them. This practice fosters deep inner peace, cultivates self-knowledge, and strengthens our capacity for detachment, guiding us towards a tranquil Buddha mind rooted in our original nature. In a secluded forest grove, where ancient trees stood sentinel and a gentle stream murmured endlessly, lived a sage named Rishi. His days were spent in quiet contemplation, his mind as vast and clear as the open sky. Rishi had a unique practice for processing his own life experiences, a method he often shared with those who sought his wisdom. He would sit by the edge of a serene, still pond, its surface perfectly reflecting the sky, the trees, and the passing clouds. He would then, in his mind's eye, allow images of his past to arise, like reflections on the water's surface. He did not invite them, nor did he push them away. He simply observed them, allowing them to appear and disappear in their own time, without engaging in their stories or clinging to their emotional content. The air was cool and still, carrying the scent of damp earth and blooming water lilies, a profound sense of full presence. One afternoon, a young seeker named Asha, whose mind was constantly replaying past events with regret or longing, came to Rishi. She found him sitting by the pond, his gaze distant yet focused. "Rishi," Asha began, her voice tinged with a familiar weariness, "my past haunts me. I constantly replay conversations, regret decisions, or yearn for moments that are gone. How can I find peace when my mind is forever entangled in what has been?" Her brow was furrowed with the weight of her memories, a clear manifestation of Trishna, her intense craving for a different past or a return to cherished moments, which created constant suffering. She longed for a way to break free from this mental loop, to find a sense of inner freedom from the relentless pull of her own history. Rishi turned his serene gaze towards Asha. "Asha," he replied, his voice calm and clear like the pond's surface. Your mind is like the pond when the wind stirs its surface. The reflections become distorted and you cannot see clearly. You're clinging to past moments. Your trishna for them to be different or to return creates the wind that agitates your mind. My practice is to be like the still pond. I allow the reflections of my past to appear, but I do not jump into the water to grasp them, nor do I try to push them away. I simply observe them as reflections, as transient images on the surface of my awareness. They arise, they pass, and the pond remains still. This is equanimous observation, vipassana for the past. He continued, to observe with equanimity means to meet each memory, each emotion, with a balanced mind, without preference or aversion. You acknowledge its presence, feel its subtle resonance, and then gently release your engagement with its story. You see it for what it is, a fleeting phenomenon, empty of a fixed, inherent self. This allows you to learn from the experience, to glean its wisdom, without getting caught in the cycle of regret or longing. It is a profound act of detachment, a way to cultivate inner freedom, allowing you to move forward unburdened by the past, recognizing the profound sufficiency of the present moment, and connecting with your original nature, your Buddha mind. This teaching from Rishi beautifully explains the practice of equanimous observation, a vital aspect of Vipassana. It is about cultivating a non-reactive awareness towards our past experiences. When we revisit memories, whether joyful or painful, our minds often generate strong emotional responses, leading to either clinging, trishna, or aversion, both of which perpetuate suffering. Equanimity allows us to observe these phenomena with a balanced perspective, recognizing their impermanence and their lack of inherent, fixed self. This practice fosters deep inner peace, enabling us to learn from our past without being emotionally overwhelmed, enhancing our self-knowledge and strengthening our capacity for letting go, embracing the beauty of imperfection. As the Buddha taught, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. This emphasizes the power of our mind's relationship to our experiences. Dogen Zenji also taught, to study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. Equanimous observation helps us study the self, not to solidify it, but to understand its fluid, anatta nature. Pema Chodron, in her practical wisdom, advises, the path to freedom is to learn to be present with whatever arises. This directly speaks to the practice of observing the past without judgment or reactivity, allowing memories to simply be, fostering a deep sense of contentment and a tranquil Buddha mind. Asha sat beside Rishi, watching the pond. She allowed a memory of a past mistake to surface, a moment she had replayed countless times with self-criticism. But this time, instead of engaging with the regret, she simply observed the image, the feeling, as a reflection on the water. She noticed how it arose, how it lingered, and how, without her active engagement, it began to subtly fade, like a cloud drifting across the sky. A profound sense of release, a quiet inner peace, settled over her. She realized that she could revisit her past, not as a prisoner, but as a wise observer, gleaning lessons without carrying the emotional weight. She felt a deep sense of sufficiency in simply being present, a profound act of self-compassion. This practice of equanimous observation, of Vipassana for the past, is a powerful tool as we reflect on the closing year. It invites us to review our experiences, both the highlights and the low points, with a calm and balanced mind. By observing them without judgment or strong emotional reactivity, we extract their wisdom, learn their lessons, and then gently release them, allowing them to pass like clouds. This frees us from the burden of past narratives and emotional residue, creating a clear and open space within us. We cultivate a resilient spirit, a heart filled with gratitude for all that has been, and a mind prepared for the stillness that precedes renewal, fostering a deep sense of inner freedom, knowing that every experience contributes to our Dharma. As we gently practice equanimous observation, allowing the reflections of our past year to arise and pass without attachment, we create a profound sense of inner stillness and spaciousness. This conscious detachment from the emotional residue of our experiences prepares us for the final sacred pauses of our year-end reflection. We are now ready to embrace moments of deep stillness, to integrate the wisdom we have gathered, and to create a bridge between the old and the new, allowing for a profound sense of renewal and a peaceful transition into deep rest, fostering a deeper connection to our original nature and a tranquil Buddha mind. Sacred pauses, preparing for renewal. Having gently practiced equanimous observation, allowing the reflections of our past year to arise and pass without attachment, we now arrive at a precious and deeply nurturing stage of our journey, embracing sacred pauses. These are moments of intentional stillness, designed to integrate the wisdom we have gathered, to allow the lessons to settle deep within our being, and to create a gentle bridge between the year that is ending and the one that is about to begin. In our busy lives, there is often a subtle trishna, a craving for constant activity or immediate transition. But these pauses invite us to resist that urge. Instead, we simply rest in the spaciousness we have cultivated, allowing for profound renewal and a deep sense of inner peace. This preparation for renewal is an act of profound self-compassion, fostering a sense of sufficiency in the present moment and connecting us with our original nature, our Buddha mind. Imagine a vast, ancient forest, its towering trees reaching towards the sky, their roots deeply intertwined beneath the earth. Within this forest, there exist natural clearings, sun-dappled spaces where the canopy opens, and the air is still, carrying the scent of damp earth and blooming wildflowers. These clearings are not empty. Rather, they are places of profound rest and regeneration, where sunlight penetrates, new seedlings take root, and the forest breathes. Animals instinctively seek these spots for repose, finding a sense of safety and tranquility. They are sacred pauses in the continuous, vibrant life of the forest, moments where the intricate web of existence can simply be, without striving or urgency. The silence in these clearings is not an absence, but a rich, resonant presence, inviting full presence. One day, a young, eager woodcutter named Takeo, whose mind was constantly focused on his next task, his next tree to fell, found himself lost in a dense part of the forest. He had been rushing, driven by a subtle trishna for productivity, and his mind was agitated, his body weary. As he pushed through thick undergrowth, he stumbled upon one of these clearings. The sudden openness, the unexpected stillness caught him by surprise. He instinctively paused, his axe dropping to his side. The sunlight warmed his face. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, and the distant sound of a bird's song filled the air. For the first time in hours, he stopped striving, stopped searching, and simply allowed himself to be present in that tranquil space. A profound experience of detachment from his usual driven mindset. As Takeo rested in the clearing, he felt the tension in his shoulders begin to melt away. The frantic thoughts that had consumed him slowly dissipated, replaced by a quiet sense of inner peace. He looked around at the vibrant life thriving in the clearing. The delicate ferns, the sturdy saplings, the intricate patterns of light and shadow. He realized that this space, this sacred pause, was not unproductive. It was essential. It was where the forest renewed itself, where strength was quietly gathered, where wisdom could be absorbed. He understood that his own constant striving, his relentless focus on outcomes, had prevented him from experiencing this profound sense of renewal, creating an unnecessary suffering within his diligent work. This moment of pause was a profound lesson in acceptance and equanimity. This experience of Takeo's beautifully illustrates the importance of embracing sacred pauses in our own lives, especially as we reflect on the closing year. In our culture, there is often a subtle trishna for constant progress, for immediate transitions, for filling every moment. However, true integration and renewal require moments of intentional stillness, periods where we simply allow ourselves to be, without an agenda. These pauses are not a waste of time. They are vital for our well-being, for processing our experiences, and for creating space for new insights to emerge. They are moments of profound self-compassion, allowing us to connect with our original nature, our Buddha mind, and to experience the profound sufficiency of the present moment, embracing the beauty of imperfection. As Dogen Zenji taught, to practice the way is to penetrate the true reality of the universe. These sacred pauses allow us to penetrate that reality, to simply be present with what is. Thich Nhat Hanh often reminded us, silence is essential. We need silence just as much as we need air, just as much as plants need light. If our minds are crowded with words and thoughts, there is no space for us. His words highlight the necessity of these quiet moments for clarity and inner peace. Alan Watts, with his characteristic wisdom, noted, "The stream flows, the clouds drift, the birds sing. What is there to do?" This invites us to align with the natural flow of Wu Wei, to simply allow life to unfold in these sacred moments of stillness, fostering a deep sense of contentment and inner freedom, recognizing the profound wisdom of impermanence. Takeo spent a long while in the clearing, not doing anything, just being. When he finally rose to continue his journey, he felt refreshed, revitalized, and profoundly clear-headed. He no longer felt the urgent trishna to rush, but moved with a newfound sense of full presence, his steps lighter, his axe held with a calm, steady hand. He realized that true productivity was not just about constant action, but also about intelligent rest, about allowing for these sacred pauses to integrate and renew. He carried the stillness of the clearing within him, a quiet knowing that he could always return to that inner space whenever his mind became agitated or his spirit grew weary, a profound act of self-knowledge. As we gently prepare to conclude our year-end reflection, let us embrace these sacred pauses. Allow yourself to simply be without judgment or expectation. Let the lessons of the past year, the gratitude, the detachment, the acceptance of imperfection gently settle within your heart and mind. This is a time for integration, for quiet assimilation, creating a fertile ground for the seeds of the new year to sprout. Breathe deeply, softly, allowing the stillness to permeate your entire being. This is your personal clearing, your sanctuary of renewal, a place where you can find profound inner peace and a deep sense of sufficiency, recognizing the profound interconnectedness of all things, cultivating your Buddha mind. This practice of sacred pauses, of allowing for moments of deep stillness, is the perfect culmination of our year-end reflection. It is an act of profound self-compassion, creating space for integration and renewal. As we gently move from these pauses, we prepare to reground ourselves fully in our bodies and in the present moment, ready for deep, restorative sleep. We will carry the lessons of gratitude and detachment into our dreams, allowing them to nurture our spirit as we rest deeply, knowing that we are always sufficient, always connected, and always at peace. As our contemplative journey through the year's end gently draws to a close, we now reground ourselves, returning fully to the comfort and quiet presence of our bodies, right here, right now. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your breath, a soft anchor in this present moment. There is nothing left to do, nowhere else you need to be. You are here in this peaceful space, and this is profoundly sufficient. Allow your body to soften, your muscles to release any lingering tension, and your mind to settle into a deep, pervasive calm. This is your sanctuary, a haven of inner peace you can return to whenever your spirit yearns for quiet contemplation and deep rest. Let the wisdom we have explored tonight, the beauty of impermanence, the liberation of detachment, the power of gratitude, and the profound acceptance of Wabi-Sabi, gently permeate every cell of your being. These insights are not burdens to carry, but soft whispers of truth that guide you towards a deeper understanding of your original nature, your Buddha mind. You have navigated another year with courage and resilience, learning and growing with every step, embracing the beauty of imperfection in your journey. This is a profound accomplishment, worthy of your deepest self-compassion and appreciation. Now, as the world outside begins to quiet and the gentle darkness invites repose, prepare yourself for a deep, restorative sleep. Imagine your body becoming heavy, sinking gently into your bed, supported and held. Each exhale is an opportunity to release, to let go of any remaining thoughts or worries, allowing them to drift away like clouds across a vast open sky. There is no need to hold on to anything. You have done enough. You are enough. This moment of peace, this profound sufficiency, is your birthright. Allow your breath to deepen, to become soft and rhythmic, a lullaby guiding you into profound slumber. Feel the quiet miracle of your body resting, rejuvenating, preparing itself for the new day, the new year. This is a natural flow, a gentle unfolding, a surrender to the deep wisdom of rest. You are safe, you are held, and you are deeply cherished. There is nothing you need to do but simply be. Should you find yourself seeking this quiet refuge again, this space of contemplation and calm, know that it is always here, waiting for your return. If these words have resonated with a deep truth within you, consider subscribing to keep this port of peace readily accessible. It is a simple gesture to ensure this sanctuary remains a constant presence on your journey, a quiet reminder of your inherent inner freedom. Rest now, dear friend, in the profound embrace of your own inner peace. May your sleep be deep and undisturbed, filled with the quiet joy of knowing you are complete, sufficient, and utterly loved. Good night.